Chapter 5776. Stone Country. Jian Wushuang. After dealing with the things from the Yu country, he didn't want to practice. Originally, he planned to go to the kendo again and perfect the Starry Sky catalog to show the way to the future. The thing about that monster, I didn't have a trace of interest. Fortunately, time flies quickly, just a few days, and it changes in a flash. On this day, before dawn, Jian Wushuang came to a relatively remote alley in the East City alone, waiting for the star refinement. According to the address on the token, this is the place, is a bit mysterious, is not like those auctions he used to see with fanfare. This place is not only hidden, but also very quiet. A big person like Lianxing will come, and the treasures traded are all based on the mixed stone. The threshold is so high that one can imagine. The weakest is probably the Lord of the Universe, and he is not an ordinary master of the universe. It is estimated that the weakest is equivalent to Wu Li. In Yu country, those are the ancestors of the top 10 families. Can be here, but he is an inconspicuous little person. After all, an auction that can be seen in star refining. I am afraid that there are many masters of the universe in the 6 tribulations realm, as well as powerhouses from the 7 tribulations realm. Jian Wushuang is an emperor, not to mention, can only honestly wait for the arrival of Lianxing. Waited not long. The bluestone ground in the alley suddenly leaked a hole, which shocked Jian Wushuang. I saw that after the bluestone slab disappeared, there was a stone step at the entrance of the dark cave. Just when Jian Wushuang was at a loss, a clear footstep came from below. Then Jian Wushuang saw an old lady with pale face and withered skin coming up from below. Inferring from the opponent's breath alone, he is at least a 4 tribulation realm powerhouse. Is not the Lord of the universe. It's just a robbery. The strength is not strong, but the appearance is too scary. Jia, this distinguished guest, please follow me. The old woman saw Jian Wushuang with her hands in her sleeves. The corners of her mouth did not move, but she could make a sound. Jian Wushuang was taken aback for a moment, and then he wanted to report the name of Lianxing. But when I think about it, the entrance to such a mysterious auction is underground. I am afraid it is also to hide the identity. Did not speak either. Honestly followed the old woman into the underground, all the way down the bluestone steps. Left for a long time. The speed of the key two is not slow, is not ordinary step by step, is one step at a time. From top to bottom, Jian Wushuang at least stepped down 1,000,000 steps. This place is at least 10 feet away from the ground. Such a deep place. Jian Wushuang did not expect that someone built a palace here. When he entered, there were already many people sitting in the hall. When he entered the main hall, the bluestone steps of the gods disappeared. The whole hall is more like suspended in midair. Can't feel the fluctuation of the surrounding space. Is like this place. It's normal without the Stone King. Jian Wushuang didn't think about it. Since he has been here for so long, he waited honestly. An old woman took him to a place that was considered to be the front of the throne, and then left. Told him before leaving that the auction would be held before dawn. This made Jian Wushuang a little confused. They were all underground, so they didn't know if it was dawn. When he first asked this question, he saw a crystal ball on the case in front of the throne. 90% on the top is black and 10% is white. Represents the time outside at this time. It's so magical. Jian Wushuang stroked it lightly. The material was special, and he didn't feel how it was refined. Nianli looked around. A strong breath made him breathless. Half of the strong are the masters of the universe. The other half is Sanjia, the Lord of the universe. Most of them are in the 5 tribulations realm. is the top powerhouse in Vietnam. There are also several masters of the universe in the Six Tribulations realm. As for the diaspora realm, the weakest is the Five Tribulations realm. This threshold can be said to be very high, is just these strong men. He doesn't know any of them, is a little boring sitting down, just when he wanted to close his eyes and waited for the auction to begin. A familiar breath came from a distance. Then many strong people in the hall began to speak. Brother Tongha Sword Fairy, Li Changsheng, Jian Wushuang also followed his gaze. The person here is just the Tongha Sword Fairy, with whom he has an Li Changsheng. He didn't come alone. He took one with him. Is his granddaughter, Li Minger. Seeing the other person walking towards him, Jian Wushuang quickly got up and said respectfully, Tongha Senior. Wushuang nephew is here too. Tong Merge is not too surprised. He thinks Jian Wushuang has the strength and background. See this kind of auction. Not to mention, Jian Wushuang's background is really not small, although not as exaggerated as strength. But in the entire Gumu continent, that's the number one person. The royal family's Cheng Glongquai's son-in-law, and the guarantee of the daughter of the newly promoted Seven Tribulation Realm Universe Lord. Plus now, I got acquainted with the first cast master of the ancient Wood Continent to refine the stars. Know the strong, that is one of the best. The strong around saw Tongha Jianxian actually chatting with a junior, and they all thought about it. Wushuang. Could it be that Jian Wushuang of the first emperor of Yu Kingdom? Someone frowned. A member of the Stone royal family. Shurjo's matter, although not big, but the movement is not small. At the beginning, there were strong people in Shurgua who were not convinced and wanted to go to Yuegua to find a place. Was finally stopped by a Stone country's Seven Tribulations realm. But now that Jian Wushuang came to Shurgua, I still feel a little uncomfortable. The Taoist couple who snatched Tianjiao from the Stone King clan is still so blatant. But this is an auction after all. They don't dare to go too far. They can only remember it in their hearts. The auctions here are in Shurgua, and even the ancient Wood Continent are all top-notch. There are a lot of powerhouses in the Seven Tribulation realm. Sometimes, even the master of the universe in the Seven Tribulations realm will see it. The operator behind is extremely mysterious. According to rumors, it was opened by the flame gods. But it has not been recognized, is still a mystery for the owner of this place. Jian Wushuang didn't pay attention to these, but he had no choice but to treat those unfriendly gazes as if he hadn't seen it. Fortunately, Tongha Jianxian sat next to him, and the two of them chatted together. Are mainly some strong people in the chat hall. Of course, both of them are privately transmitted. From Tongha Jianxian, Jian Wushuang also has a clear understanding of the current powerhouses in the Stone Kingdom. After knowing that he was going to see the sacred meeting, Tongha Sword Immortal did not hide it, and said a lot about his position and future opponents. Stand. Jian Wushuang's position is definitely to help the female emperor of the Yu Kingdom become the ancient Wood Saint. Of course, this is only a superficial partnership, and the biggest benefit is to open Wanlu. Chapter 5777. It's just that I can't say. No one would believe it. He is an emperor, plus a half-step for Tribulation's realm of the universe lord, trying to open Wanlu in vain. This is not a joke. I thought everyone was the original master of Yakoki, although helping the empress to win the position of saint. It is just a cover, but taking advantage of this opportunity. Jian Wushuang also wanted to know more about some of the strong men in the holy meeting. It is said that the place where the holy meeting is held is an independent space. Wanlu is among them. He and Wu Li opened Wanlu if they were besieged. The first time they found them were the strong men who participated in the holy meeting. are all masters of the universe. Although the emperor also has it, the role of the emperor in the Holy Meeting is very small, is just an auxiliary role. In terms of combat power, they are still the masters of the universe. I learned from Tongha Jianxian there are only 3 strong men in the position of the gladiatorial saints who are going to participate in the Holy Meeting in Shurgwa this time, are the masters of the 5 tribulations realm universe. After Jian Wushuang heard about it, he was secretly surprised. This is only the master of the female universe would be able to gather 3 5 tribulations realm. Then the 5 tribulations universe master within the entire Stone Kingdom's power would have at least 2 digits. In the entire Yu country, there is only 1 female emperor. This gap is more than a huge difference. The strength of the 3 masters of the universe, 2 of them are at the pinnacle, and 1 of them is consummating, are all the best in this battle of saintess qualifications. Belongs to several popular powerhouses who have won the Holy Throne. Although the Empress function is also among them, but the background is not good, and there are too few helpers. I am afraid that there are not a few masters of the universe who can get it, and the Holy Meeting will fall. A large number of strong men will fall in every Holy Meeting. If you win, there will be many benefits. The saint is stationed in the ancient wood school, and she will bring her own confidant to the strong. If Empress function becomes a candidate, then Jian Wushuang and Wu Li will not only get the resources and treasures in the Holy Meeting place, can also rub the light of the Empress and become the core of the ancient wood school. There will be more treasures. This is also why there are so many strong men who rush forward and embrace. The benefits of the Holy Meeting are too many. The glory of ancient wood continent, there is only this fig leaf left. Every year in the Holy Meeting, there will be some strong people who come to the fore and are recruited by the Gumu faction. Like the Yunji Kingdom Lord, he and the Empress function also practiced in the ancient wood school, although each finally returned to his own power. If it is external, it represents the ancient wood school. Tongha Jianxian was also a little envious when talking about the Holy Meeting. He is not from Gumu continent. He is not qualified to participate. Jian Wushuang, with your strength, I believe you can control some battles. By then, you can't fight too far. Everything is based on your own. The female emperor of your country is not as high as your heart. This sentence, Tonggijian, the immortal said very heavy. Jian Wushuang just nodded without answering. He doesn't know whether the Empress is high-spirited, but starting from herself, that's absolutely fine. He wouldn't be foolish to give his life to the Empress. Do your best. The most important thing is the chance within Wanlu. The opportunity in the Holy Meeting, he doesn't like it, is not very helpful. He actually doesn't lack treasures now. What he lacks is chance inheritance and some rare treasures. In the past, he was worried that the treasures were not enough. But now, his original promotion is almost complete. There are chess pieces on the Guantian chessboard, which can be swallowed casually. After became the Lord of the Universe, he was able to swallow the chess pieces of the font size. Within a short period of time, he was not short of original treasures. If you don't have enough, you can buy it. Anyway, Guyu time and space is dominated by divine power, and the treasures of the origin are very cheap. As for supernatural power, he is even more indispensable. There are Dongjun bones. At first, just feeling the breath can greatly increase the divine power. With the help of power, he swallowed all the aura on the surface, and his divine power reached 400,000. After he became the Lord of the Universe, he swallowed all the bones. Don't say much before the 7 tribulations realm. He didn't lack the treasures of increased divine power. The sword blank he lacks now also has eyebrows. Before the Holy Meeting, It can be done. External things, he is already saturated. The only thing missing is practice time. It has only been more than 10,000 years since it came to Guyu time and space. At this point, he didn't have time to practice. If it hadn't been some time ago, the divine power had made a huge breakthrough. His strength has not changed much. Before the holy meeting, he didn't have much time to practice. Even if time accelerates, nothing can be cultivated in that little time. Unconsciously, only a trace of white remained on the crystal ball on the note. Represents the outside world, which is about to dawn. Ku Jian Wushuang still didn't see Lianxing. Just when he thought the other party would not come, a noise came from the outside world. After that, the strong in the hall all silenced. Regardless of whether it is the master of the universe in the 6 tribulations realm or the powerhouses in the 7 tribulations realm, they all leaked a respectful look and looked outside the hall. The big shock comes. An old man with a simple dress and a ruddy complexion walked in from outside the hall with a smile on his face. After entering the hall, "I didn't forget to say something." Finally caught up. As soon as these words came out, many people who slapped their beards and patted horses quickly said, "Senior Star Refining has come. It is an honor for me to wait." The person who came is the Lianxing. The reason why I came late is actually because of Jian Wushuang. In the past few days, he even went to the daytime and collected all the necessary materials. The rest is in this auction. He was originally qualified to exchange it directly, but it was not necessary. No one dared to him even when he came to the auction. Lianxing walked up to the foremost throne at will and then settled down. After took a seat, the crystal ball on the note table completely lost its white luster. The auction will also officially begin. But at this moment, another person appeared outside the temple. The smell of the coming person is very weak. Compared with the strong in the temple, is like a baby. Although the breath is weak, the movement caused by entering the hall is not small. Fan Tianfeng. Jian Wushuang's eyes trembled. He thought Fan Tianfeng had already left. I didn't expect to come to the auction here. When everyone saw the first young master of the Stone Country, their expressions were all moved. The offspring of the strongest 8 tribulations in the ancient Wood Continent, and the most important offspring, will become the master of the Flame Kingdom in the future. Fan Tianfeng's identity is much higher than those of the Stone Kings. Otherwise, it won't be that big of face. Just a letter can make Lianxing help Jian Wushuang to refine the sword blank. On the high platform of the main hall, a phantom of a woman in red appeared. When he saw Fan Tianfeng, his brow furrowed. She is also a descendant of the flame god. Compared with Fan Tianfeng, her status is much worse. The descendants of the flame gods, although not many, but the difference is still very big. Chapter 57-78. Fan Tianfeng's position in the flame fuckingdom is second only to the flame deity. This status, even the current leader of Shurgua, must be treated politely. Fan Tianfeng walked into the hall, glanced around at random, and found a place to sit down. The momentum and attitude are both irresistible. Jian Wushuang looked a little envious. Can't help but sigh with emotion. I wish I had half of her chic. He was a little envious when he thought that the other party would go to the long river of time and space where the Qixin Temple was located. Reincarnation is really a skill. Obviously, he was not very successful in this regard. Don't know what happened to the others. Hui Qing was at the Guyu ruins, but told him that he must not go. Fan Tianfeng will not say anything. Where are the others? Jian Wushuang took a deep breath. Maybe the others are also lucky. Under the operation of the supreme rules, they may all have a bright future. Wuzuo's talents are actually not bad. A little bit into some big forces, you can become a Tianjiao. The Lord of the Universe is not difficult, just can't find it. His current reputation is only spread in Gumu continent, and it does not affect the 9 heavens and 10 places. But it's coming soon. He is about to become famous for Guyu. As long as you open Wanlu, you will surely become famous. If the rest of the people are mixed up, well, they can also go to seek refuge. He didn't know the others might not be as good as him. For example, Wuzhua was trapped in the secret realm of Wuhua at this time, and also encountered an unprecedented predicament. In this predicament, he also accidentally met a real big man. Dear friends, in Xiafeng Jiwu, this auction will be hosted by me. The rules are the same as before. You can settle with mixed stones or treasures of the same value. If you encounter a treasure that you must win, you can also click the sky. Lights to bid. Sky lantern? Jian Wushuang was a little confused when he heard it. Fortunately, Tongha Jianxian sat next to him, learned the role of the sky lantern from the opponent. Once the sky lantern is on, is endless price increases. Only if no one makes any more quotes. It will stop, is equivalent to saying that as long as you light the sky lantern, you don't need to increase the price yourself. Just watch others ask for the price, because every time he will be a price higher than others. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang thought to himself that a fool would light the sky lantern. Tongha Jianxian said leisurely at this time, when the old man saw it for the first time, he once lit a sky lantern. That treasure was of great use to me, and it was even an opportunity to break through the 7 tribulations realm. For that treasure, I have sold Shurgua's life for several epochs. Deal. Jian Wushuang was very surprised. No surprises. At first, I couldn't bring out so many treasures and mixed stones. In the end, it was the power of the stone country. As a guarantor, I got the treasure, and then returned the favor and fought for the royal family of the stone country. Times. Tongha said very simply, but only he knew it, and he almost fell through the battle several times. And the master of the universe, he beheaded one. The Battle of Stone Kingdom is not a battle of Gumu continent, is the competition for the secret realm of the outer domain. Outer universe secret realms, many, but most of them are occupied by some big forces. There are only some extremely dangerous secret realms that can't be suppressed by even superpowers, and they are unowned, such as the Wuhua secret realm and the ancient moon ruins. No one dares to get involved in these secret realms. A super country like the Stone Kingdom has no meaning for civil wars. The ancient Wood continent just has such a small amount of resources. The general battle is still an external struggle for the secret realm of the universe. Hearing the rumors about the secret realm, Jian Wushuang's heart moved. He knew a lot about Outland. The so-called Outland is a place beyond 9 days and 10 places, where is extremely dangerous. There are many natural secrets. The Lord of the Universe will go to explore. There are naturally many opportunities. If it weren't for Wu Li's plan, he would probably also go to Outland. But with Wu Li's plan, opening Wanlu is the best choice. Because the danger in Wanlu is relatively small. The danger of going to Outland is much greater. Even the Lord of the Universe in the 6 tribulations realm is in danger of falling. Wanlu Shenmu is different. The danger is how he faces the strong in the ancient Wood continent after he goes out. The inside is not that dangerous. At least there are no competitors. In Outland, some cosmic secret realms, but there are many old monsters. There are also many special lives. He is an emperor. Even if his strength is comparable to the 5 tribulations realm, it is extremely dangerous to go. He sort of mortal smiled lightly, and then said, when you succeed in the Tao, you will know that the danger of Outland also represents chance. Jian Wushuang nodded in agreement. Behind every crisis is a great opportunity, just as he is now. Has a great enemy extinction, but also has the opportunity to master the time and space of reincarnation. Even the extinction is extremely longing, from the stars, looking for the Lord of Life. If he can defeat extinction, he can swallow the Lord of Death, palm reincarnation, and grasp time and space. It is possible to transcend the Lord of the universe, just like those eternal existence. With confidence, we need that determination. Jian Wushuang clenched his fist. The auction also officially begins at this moment. Feng Jiuwu, with a wave of his hand, a huge jade pillar appeared on the high platform in the main hall. At the top of the pillar, something is floating at this time. Dear friends, this treasure is the heaven-defying supreme treasure in the Wuhua secret realm, the Qingyan divine water. All the masters of the universe know that when the fifth supreme calamity is past, the origin universe will descend on the natural disaster flame mountain. With this treasure, this calamity is not called a robbery. After Feng Jiuwu's introduction, many masters of the universe in the four tribulations realm looked sideways. The Lord of the universe crossing the catastrophe is not just his own catastrophe. There is also the robbery of the universe. The original universe will also have a catastrophe. In general, one's own calamity can be foreseen, but he is not sure that he will not cross the calamity at all. But the supreme tribulation in the origin universe is different. Not only does it need to be strong, it also needs the origin of the universe to be strong. The origin of the universe can't be held, no matter how strong the divine power is. Guyu time and space divine power practitioners, most of their origins are not strong. So for them, their own calamity is not difficult. The highest calamity of the universe is the problem. This made Jian Wushuang think of Qishan. Qishan crosses the catastrophe failed, but the original universe is still there, later evolved into Qi Shrine. The Qishan who cultivated the origin has fallen under his own calamity, and the origin universe has not been destroyed. Could have been specialized in becoming Sanjia, but it was necessary to give up the original universe. For the origin of the universe, Qishan would rather own the universe. Is also the number one ruthless person. Maybe the reason. I am afraid that is not the case. Jian Wushuang himself is different. The amount of calamity of oneself corresponds to the strength of divine power. His divine power is now faster than the original source. The supreme calamity in the original universe, although strong, is also strong, but Ji Dao evolved into a starry sky. The first universe is about to light up. Chapter 5779. Once the universe is successfully condensed, it will be a perfect universe of 10,000 black holes, with the origin of the starry sky. The supreme tribulation for Jian Wushuang is not so terrible, takes care of both. Jian Wushuang is the catastrophe of these heavens and worlds, otherwise he would not be so confident. The first 5 calamities are as simple as drinking water for him. The difficulty is after the 6 tribulations realm. But there is always a way. No, now there is a treasure that can break through the Lord of the 5 tribulations realm. In the future, there will be treasures of the 6 tribulations realm. Of course, although treasures have a great effect, you can't ignore themselves. Can't underestimate the supreme rule. Everything is changed. The first auction item is a heaven-defying treasure for the Lord of the 4 tribulations realm. For a time, many strong players made bids. Among them are the powerhouses of the 7 tribulations realm. If you don't use it yourself, you can also give it to younger generations. This kind of treasure is not much. Wuhua's secret realm Ordinary people can't enter. I rarely get out when I go in. This Qingyan divine water is still in the inner circle of Wuhua's secret realm. Without the strength of the master of the Six Tribulations realm, it would be impossible to get it. Some people may never encounter such a treasure in their lifetime. Naturally, I cherish it very much. There are no low prices for the treasures auctioned here. As long as the price is offered, it is probably the corresponding price of the treasure. But the scarcity of treasures can't be held up. Tongha Jianxian, who was sitting next to Jian Wushuang, also called out the price at this time. 10,000 mixed stones. The last price was 7,000, and Tongha Jianxian directly added 3,000 mixed stones. Many masters of the universe in the Four Tribulations realm fell into despair. As for the Lord of the universe in the Three Tribulations realm, he may not be worth 5,000 yuan stone. Although it is an era, the original universe guarantee can also breed a mixed stone. But who would hold the treasure and not use it? Buying treasures, secrets, and even maintaining one's original universe can't do without the Hunyuan stone. Ordinary Lord of the universe, it is already very good to be able to take out 5,000 mixed stones on his body. It takes 5,000 eras to condense. The Lord of the universe in the Four Tribulations realm also needs 500 eras. Is still a relatively long time. Seeing Tongha Jiangxian's offer, Jian Wushuang asked curiously, "Senior, is this for the girl Minger?" "Ha! That little girl still has Fan Xin. When he has enough, this treasure should be used." Tongha said with a smile, "Think about it, too. Li Minger is Tongha Jiangxian's only family member. The day when the heart is gone, it may be the time when the other party embarks on the path of cultivation. Tongha Jianxian naturally has to prepare in advance. Six Tribulation Realm Universe. Here is also a top character. But those crazy Four Tribulation Realm Universe Masters have already begun to become sellers. I have 9,000 mixed stones, plus a cosmic treasure of the Five Tribulations realm. A cosmic master of the Four Tribulations realm sitting at the back made a loud bid. If you have the first one to sell treasures, you have the second. The value of the treasure of the universe is actually not too high. The most valuable thing is the original treasure that I nurtured. A treasure of the Five Tribulations realm universe, worth 3,000 mixed stones, is not bad. The subsequent asking price has been rising. Tongha Jianxian also made several consecutive prices. In the end, he still didn't win. Was auctioned off by a crazy Four Tribulations universe master, which Cosmos Master is at the pinnacle of the Four Tribulation realm, and the time to cross the tribulation is less than 100 eras. During this period of time, I have been looking for the treasures of the robbery, was also lucky and met Qingyan Shinshui here, almost took out all of his worth, and spent 90,000 mixed stones to win this Qingyan divine water. Just took the photo and left the scene in a hurry. Is not because I am afraid that others will stare at me, but because I am anxious to prepare for the catastrophe. Seeing the auction here, I walked through different channels. Jian Wushuang came in the alley, but the others came from all over the city. As long as the route appears different, the breath is hidden in the city, and no one can find yourself at all. This is also the reason why some people dare to spend all their worth. The first treasure is a lottery. The value is generally very high. The treasures to be auctioned next, although they are also very precious, are not as guarded as the first treasure, so the price is controlled by a few thousand. Jian Wushuang didn't even have thousands of mixed stones. He can only watch. The ninth auction item, a space crystallization. This material is the superb material for refining the supreme slab. Many of the people who have seen the auction are all casters. And at this time they have made bids, cast gods. Each of them is worth several times higher than their peers. Naturally, few laymen dared to compete. Only one side of the space crystallized, and the high price of 10,000 mixed stones was sold. Jian Wushuang's eyes are hot. This spatial crystal is condensed from the celestial bodies in the universe, which is very rare, is the crystallization of everything, and it is also the hardest material in the universe. The value of one party is 10,000 mixed stones. Jian Wushuang carefully searched for the treasures of the Chen family. He, who had never been able to see through, also inspected it in the Stone Country workshop. It was a treasured treasure, but not too expensive. Moreover, the Chen family is a master of the universe, and the reserve of Hunyuan stone is almost useless, is not enough for the master of the universe for his own use. So he did not find a mixed stone. Next time, to do this kind of thing again, you need to take action against the masters of the universe. Sanjia, too poor. Every sabotage, before becoming sabotage, must have smashed all the treasures on the original universe. In the end, the sabotage failed, and naturally there was nothing. Are all poor ghosts, except for the casting god. Looking at those treasures, Jian Wushuang's eyes are hot, and it's no use. If no one bids again, then this space will crystallize. Before Feng Jiwu could finish her words, she was interrupted by an old voice. Is star-making the strongest casting in the ancient Wood continent? Lianqing slowly raised 2 fingers and said, "It'll pay 20,000 yuan." As soon as these words came out, Akanshu, Kam was quiet. No one dares to bid anymore. Even if it was a strong person in the 7 tribulations realm, he shrank. As for the casting gods, almost everyone knows Lianqing, and it is even more important that Lianqing is the #1 casting in ancient Wood continent, the ancestor of everyone. Who would go to grab materials from Lianqing? In fact, you can make a star at the beginning, and you can bid a price for a mixed stone, and no one will dare to follow it. Background, combat power, financial resources, is completely crushing others. Who dares to fight? The strong of the 8 tribulations realm came, and they might not be able to compete. The wealth of refining stars is not comparable to that of ordinary people. One person can be comparable to a superpower. The light are those puppets that Jian Wushuang encountered. The value is so great that none of them can be grasped by a powerhouse in the 7 tribulations realm. Feng Jiwu, who presided over the auction, saw the quotation from the refining star, but his expression was very relaxed, and he immediately started the final bid. After 3 beeps, no one answered. The space crystallized and fell into the hands of Lianqing. Chapter 5780. The auction continues. As the space crystallizes, the next few treasures are also the materials of the refining device. Jian Wushuang had never heard of it before, so just watched it. Now he has no hope anymore. Can help him break through the treasure of the Lord of the Universe. Even if it has, the price will be very high. Can't afford it at all. The treasures he collected in the Chen family couldn't make it to the table at all. Is also the Source Rock Mountain. You can still see it. The other treasures have little attraction to the Lord of the Universe. The treasures of the universe he obtained in the Chen family, although there are several, are all at the level of the 3 tribulations. The only treasure in the 4 tribulations realm is still a treasure disclosed by the Chen family. He had already devoured the origin and ruined it. Even if it can be sold, the value is probably less than 100 mixed stones. The treasure of the universe, those below the 5 tribulations realm, are almost of no value. Of course, for the emperor, that value is great. But now that Jian Wushuang's strength increases, his vision will gradually grow, and he cannot stay in the Qi Temple period. At that time, He had little knowledge. Guyu time and space are different. The place where you go in and out, and the people you see, and the people you turn to, that one has a head and a face, whether it is in the country of Vietnam or the country of daughters, or the current stone country. There are so many powerful people he knows. Next to him, Tongha Sword Fairy, the Lord of the Universe in the Six Tribulations realm. Although he is not a strong man in ancient Wood Continent, he is also a man in this place. The Master of the Universe in the Six Tribulations realm, his status and strength are almost equal to those in the Seven Tribulations realm. Needless to say, refining stars, the entire ancient Wood Continent is almost unknown to everyone. When he comes into contact with these people, his knowledge and hearing will naturally increase. Also broadened his horizons, is considered to be in contact with the circle of the Lord of the Universe in advance. Also knows a lot about the Lord of the Universe. From the subsequent treasure auctions, he learned a lot. For example, the treasures auction later, there are two other treasures that are very helpful for crossing the catastrophe. One piece is the aura of heaven condensed in the golden space. This treasure is actually quite tempting. Because of this treasure, it is extremely useful when breaking through to become the Lord of the Universe. Corresponds to the law of space, the aura of heaven condensed by the law of gold. That is the power that the three tribulations realm needs to master the universe, can allow the three tribulation realm powerhouses to quickly master the universe. Unfortunately, this treasure was photographed by Fan Tianfeng at a very high price. Thousands of Hunyuan stones. Jian Wushuang simply can't afford it. When Fan Tianfeng shot this treasure, there was a high probability that he was ready to make a breakthrough. The opponent was also the origin of time and space for cultivation. Now specializes in divine power, but the foundation of the source has not fallen. The first three calamities are too simple for Fan Tianfeng now. So the treasures prepared are also the treasures needed to master the universe. Once a breakthrough, I am afraid that the highest calamity will soon fall. After quickly completing the first three calamities, he came to the three tribulations realm to directly control the universe. The first three calamities considered his own divine body, which was nothing to Fan Tianfeng, who was rich in wealth. Jian Wushuang is the same. Once it becomes the tribulation realm, you can quickly cross the tribulation realm, reach the three tribulation realm, and directly control the universe. After becomes the Lord of the Universe, the original universe will come to the highest calamity. The supreme tribulation is divided into 7 kinds. After mastering the time and space of the universe, there is a small catastrophe. For space, it is gold. 4th tribulation, wood the 5th tribulation, fire the 6th tribulation, water 7th calamity, earth the 8th tribulation, time Mahayana if the first 7 calamities are still talking about space. Then the 8th calamity is a dimensionality reduction blow for practitioners, directly from space to time. This is good for the original practitioner. To the divine power practitioner, that's too much difference. That's why Guyu time and space got stuck in a lot of 7 tribulations. The reason why the 8 tribulations realm is so rare. That's why there are many practitioners who pursue the so-called one force to break the 10,000 dharma, break the supreme rule, and become the deity with divine power. But no one can do it. Guyu time and space is precisely because of this. There has been no eternal existence. Jian Wushuang himself was not very sure about this. My greatest confidence is my own path of time and space. S own divine power is also enough to deal with the divine Bodhi's calamity. The origin of the robbery is not difficult for him. This is the benefit of double repair. As long as he crosses the tribulation realm, he does not need to be suppressed when crossing the tribulation. The first 5 calamities can all pass easily. It is a bit difficult to become a robbery. The universe is formed, but he lacks the understanding of time. At this point, it's not enough to devour the source, but it still needs to be cultivated. At present, he can only go to see the original chess pieces on the Guantian chessboard. Comprehend from it. The speed is not slow anymore. The true meaning of time has been realized, is just about getting started. As long as he is mastered, he can reach the robbery realm. I hope Wanlu will have the opportunity he needs. Jian Wushuang thought from the bottom of his heart, there is no chance at this auction. He didn't have enough mixed stones at all to buy those auxiliary treasures. Can only watch. Lianxing and Fan Tianfeng bought some treasures and materials at short intervals. His eyes are hot. After he becomes the Lord of the universe, there may be no shortage of Hunyuan stone. Ordinary master of the 3 tribulations realm universe, one era can breed from 1 to 10. This has a lot to do with the origin of the universe. He is different. When he becomes the master of the universe, the foundation of the original universe is probably stronger than that of the same level, I don't know how much, and he can break through quickly and become the master of the 5 tribulations realm universe. According to Guyu Time and Space's 5 tribulations realm cosmos master, there are 100 mixed stones in one era. Based on his original background, 100-fold is not a problem. That is 10,000 mixed stones. 10,000 in an era seems to be a long time. But let alone the Lord of the universe. He is the emperor. It's normal to retreat for hundreds of thousands of epochs at a time. By then, his wealth will double. Is not so embarrassing now. A force of traction came from the auction table, causing Jian Wushuang's brows to wrinkle slightly. Then, the eye holes began to shrink. Feng Jiwu, at this time, once again took out an auction treasure. 9 Tribulations Tower, from the ancient moon ruins. Many people originally saw this 9-story tower and didn't care, but when they heard the ruins of Guyu, they all looked at it. The ancient moon ruins are the strongest secret realm in ancient moon time and space. It is rumored that the core area has the inheritance of the goddess, but no one can get into the core. Not even the inner wall can get in. Even in the periphery, the Lord of the universe in the 6 tribulations realm is required to be able to enter. That is to say, this treasure was brought out by at least a master of the universe in the 6 tribulations realm. A treasure from the ancient moon ruins. The price will reach a very high number. The strong below the 6 tribulations realm is basically useless. I pay 50,000. A middle-aged man in a black robe stood up directly. Chapter 5781. The breath leaking out of his body is an ancient 7 tribulations realm power, although it is scattered robbery. But the strength is still there. Jian Wushuang looked at it for a moment and said in secret, "These people don't even know the use of the Tower of 9 Tribulations, so dare you make an offer?" At the same time, a cosmic master of the 6 tribulations realm also spoke. "I give out 180,000, sky, 180,000 mixed stones. This price, it is already the highest price at the auction. 180,000 mixed stones. Sure enough, he is still the Lord of the universe, rich in wealth. The strength of Sanjia has declined severely, and there is no origin universe condensed Hunyuan stone. Fighting for the price. You can't fight for the Lord of the universe." After the price reached 180,000, it fell into a short period of calm. Jian Wushuang also took the opportunity to ask Tongha Jianxian, "Senior Tongha, what special role does this pagoda of 9 tribulations have?" "Thanks, Tusk, Jian Wushuang. The first time you have seen this kind of auction, you may not know, but no one knows what the treasures from the ancient moon ruins are. In fact, no one knows what they are. If you want to realize it quickly, if you really figure it out, you won't be able to sell it. The worst treasures from the ancient moon ruins are the treasures of the seven tribulations realm universe, and even the treasures of the innate universe. Tongha Jianxian. He tapped his fingers on the armrest of the throne, but his gaze had been staring at the pagoda of 9 tribulations, and he was also considering whether to make a move. The treasures flowing out of the ancient moon ruins are extremely mysterious. It is almost a special treasure. Few people will put it up for auction. Even if I can't figure it out, I don't want to spread it to the outside world. Otherwise, if someone else has mastered it and finds that he has a blood loss, he can't be off. The Tower of 9 Tribulations, which can be auctioned off, is probably the person behind it who is in dire need of the Hunyuan stone. Hearing Tongha Jiangxian's explanation, Jian Wushuang looked at the Tower of 9 Tribulations again. If this is the case, he may not be very tempted. For Jibao, he is not in short supply. It is enough to have beast soldiers. With enough cards in his own hands, the treasure sometimes becomes a burden. But when the pagoda of 9 tribulations appeared in the main hall, the Guantian chess in his source moved. The two seemed to have a certain connection. This made Jian Wushuang had to think about whether he should buy the Tower of 9 Tribulations, Guantian chessboard, that is the treasure of time and space, and can resonate with the treasure of time and space, and the value of the Tower of 9 Tribulations has already doubled. The most important thing is that the Guantian chessboard is the treasure left to him by Mr. Xuani. Maybe this 9 Tribulations pagoda is also connected with teacher Xian Yi. This had to let him take a risk once. Of course, it's not for him to grab it. Instead, buy it by yourself. Hunyuan stone. He didn't. But he has the life force for which all Sanji is crazy. Can transform everything into life. Only he can do it. The life force of the Emperor level, as long as it is refined, can help those scattered robbers to restore the divine body. It's time for him to do it again. It just can't be taken out blatantly. He has to plan carefully. Yes, Jian Wushuang's mouth raised, and the clone in the origin universe took out a finger. That was loose from Dongjun's bones. Originally, he was reluctant, but he couldn't help it. He is going to gamble once. In case this 9 Tribulations pagoda is also related to teacher Xuani, if he doesn't fight now and falls into the hands of other people, he will never have a chance to cry. A piece of Dongjun's finger. It is of great value in itself. Just this finger, even if it is for those strong in the 6 Tribulations realm to absorb it. Both are able to increase the divine power of about 100,000. This is a real improvement. The powerhouse of the 6 Tribulations realm, even if it is Sand Tribulation, has a divine power of about 700,000. An increase of 100,000 is 800,000. A full level has been raised, and the combat power has doubled several times. At auction, it is enough to sell 200,000 mixed stones. Of course, this 200,000 is far from enough. This finger may be able to compete for the powerhouses of the 6 Tribulations realm, and the power of life can make the powers of the 7 Tribulations realm, and even Star refining himself can make a move. It's just the power of life, which can't be taken on the bright side. Wow, the power of all things began to condense, and then transformed into the power of life. The life force of the Emperor rank once again condensed and transformed, reaching the level of the Tribulation realm. Repeatedly inject the condensed life force into this finger. The auction in the hall is still going on. The price of the Tower of 9 Tribulations has reached 300,000. The bid now is the master of the universe in the 6 Tribulations realm, as well as the powerhouses in the 7 Tribulations realm. Other people are no longer eligible to compete. It's not that financial resources can't keep up, but ambition can't keep up. The Lord of the universe in the six tribulations realm is fighting. It is for the future tribulation. The powerhouses in the seven tribulation realm fight for their own strength, as well as to maintain their status and family. What is the dispersal of the six tribulations realm? There is power and family. It is not a superpower. Even if the power of the nine tribulations pagoda is against the sky, it will be a hot potato when you get it. So there is no need to fight. Struggle. It's better to delay a little longer. Jian Wushuang's forehead violent blue veins. The whole person was a little stiff. This is considered a side effect. Forcibly and quickly transform the life force still has a backlash against itself. Unlike Fuego's resuscitation, in the first place, there is no rush or slowness. Now he is too anxious, even more anxious than when he was fighting. He has to condense the life force that makes the seven tribulation realm dispersal powerhouse tempted. Otherwise, the value is not high if it is taken out. With Dongjun's bones as the host, the powerful life force converged. It will take about the same time, a stick of incense. But now there are fewer and fewer strong bidders. Some of the strong players of the pinnacle forces stopped their bids. On the Stone King's side, at this time, there were 460,000 mixed stones. Brother Shirshio, you should prepare for crossing the tribulation. It's better to give the nine tribulations tower to the old man, 500,000. After speaking, the old man who spoke quoted a price that surpassed the stone royal family. 500,000 mixed yuan stone. The seven tribulations realm requires 50 epochs. The key is that the royal family of Yu has no master of the universe in the seven tribulations realm. It would take hundreds of epochs to let Shirshio condense by herself. This is already a sky-high price. Shirshio knocked on the armrest of the throne, not hesitating, but contacting several ancestors of the royal family to discuss the value of the Tower of Nine Tribulations. Bid now is no longer a choice for one person. Behind him, there are strong men in the royal family. Shirshio was on the verge of being overwhelmed, and he needed a lot of Hunyuan stone, so he didn't need to spend a lot of money to buy a treasure that he didn't know what its purpose was. But the royal family is rich. Now, he represents the royal family. As long as those ancestors are willing to pay, winning is never a problem. This is Stone Country, the first super kingdom of the 16 kingdoms. This financial strength is still another. Click! The sound of finger tapping on the stone seat sounded. Shirshio received the order from the ancestor, and she felt confident in her heart. Chapter 5782, seeing which old man bidding. He said leisurely, Brother Lianqing, when you are old, don't take this risk anymore. 800,000. Shirshio raised the price directly to the highest price, raised a full 300,000 mixed stones. The seven tribulation realm powerhouse, Lian Cheng's face is not very good. He is not a strong man in Gumu continent, but from Heiqian, also the ancestor of a party. There is the Lord of the universe in the six tribulations realm in the family. If you take down the Tower of Nine Tribulations, even if you don't use it, you can still use it for the family's master of the universe. But I really want to fight. He can't compete with the stone royal family. Originally, he thought it was Shirshio who was arguing, but now that Shirshio offered the same price as if he didn't want money, he understood that the Stone King family had taken the shot. Can't compete. Hee, then don't smash your kid in your own hands. Lianqing sneered, then closed his eyes. I gave up. Feng Jiwu, who presided over the auction, also understood that no one would bid for the strong in the temple. The Stone Kings are bound to win. No one will please. As for the malicious offer, that would offend people. In fact, Star Refining can also compete, have the financial resources. The Stone Country has great cause and many people. A large group of the strong have to feed. Star Refining is different. He bears one. As for the group of apprentices, not only did they not need to support her, but they also had to honor her. Moreover, the income of the Zhu Shinfang opened is even more terrifying. The key doesn't need him to make a move to refine the treasure. Apprentice is enough. Those disciples can only get 30% of the Hunyuan stone. Everything else went into the hands of star refining. In this way, there are countless people rushing forward and wanting to come in. However, looking at the look of the star refiner, there is no intention to make a move. Maybe not interested in this treasure. In fact, star refining had once madly collected dozens of strange treasures from the ancient moon ruins, but none of them were useful. According to his disassembly, some strange treasures were found, all of which were ornaments. It's useless. Later, he didn't hold on anymore, so he didn't bid this time. There is actually one person in the hall who is able to bid. Moreover, after bidding, the Stone King clan must weigh whether he wants to fight or not. That is Fan Tianfeng. She has the ability to fight for her current position. But now Fan Tianfeng is not interested in these. The important thing is to break through the Master of the Universe, then return to Qi Temple. She has reached the point where she doesn't care about the treasure. Taoist Shirxiu offered a price of 800,000. If there are no other Taoists, the 9 Tribulations Pagoda will be. Before Feng Jiwu finished speaking, Jian Wushuang changed his arm and motioned to wait. He wants to bid. I have a treasure and want to mortgage it for auction. Jian Wushuang said directly. Seeing Jian Wushuang's bid, many people were taken aback. Even most people don't know Jian Wushuang. The Lord of the Universe in the 6 Tribulations realm, able to see through the realm of Jian Wushuang, frowned when he discovered that he was just an emperor. There are 2 emperors in the hall. If Fan Tianfeng bids, it's normal. Jian Wushuang, an imperial emperor, even dared to bid. It was true that many people were taken aback. Even Tongha Jianxian, next to him, didn't expect Jian Wushuang to return the price. Lianxing stared at Jian Wushuang in surprise, secretly guessing in his heart that Jian Wushuang would not sell the treasure that boosted his supernatural power. He knew that Jian Wushuang had beasts and gods. The value of that treasure is indeed not small. At least it is the treasure of the universe in the 7 Tribulations realm. But this way, some are too risky. An emperor go to auction Qibao. This is not necessary. Either it is silly, either it is related to the Tower of 9 Tribulations. Could it be? Fan Tianfeng looked at Jian Wushuang. She is the person who knows Jian Wushuang best in the hall. It is also from Qishan Temple. Fan Tianfeng had to admire Jian Wushuang's strength. Even if she has countless resources to practice, she is not Jian Wushuang's opponent. At this time, Jian Wushuang quoted, I am afraid he really saw the doorway of the pagoda of 9 tribulations. Shirxiu saw that it was an emperor who was vying with him, and his eyes turned to speculate about Jian Wushuang's background and the powerhouse behind it. He didn't believe that an emperor could see the speciality of the pagoda of 9 tribulations. At this time, the strong man of the Shi Wang clan also informed Shirxiu of Jian Wushuang's identity. Shirxiu knew that it was still related to her grandson, and became even more interested in Jian Wushuang. Just a little investigation. Then I learned of the strong men Jian Wushuang had made friends with. Yunji, the newly promoted master of the 7 Tribulation Realm universe, Tongha Sword Immortal, the master of the universe of the 6 Tribulations Realm living in stone, star refining, the #1 casting master of Gumu Continent. I didn't know if I asked. Shirxiu was shocked when I asked. Jian Wushuang, a son-in-law of Yuguazhua, actually made friends with these superpowers at the same time. In fact, this is really the case. Because of the relationship between the country of Vietnam, Jian Wushuang first made friends with the Lord Yunji. Then through Yunji Kingdom Lord, I got to know Tongha Sword Immortal. Because they are both practicing kendo, the relationship between the two has also improved. As for making stars, I have to thank Fan Tianfeng. But it also has his own efforts. If it weren't for the strength to defy the sky, it would be optimistic to get the star refiner. Lianxing would not recommend him to see this kind of auction. Before becoming the son-in-law of the Yu Kingdom, Jian Wushuang first slapped the Shigua Tianjiao Shijiao. Not only luck, the most important thing is strength. Strength is strong, everything is smooth. The parties waited up, and Shi Xiu started contacting the ancestors of the royal family. The others were guessing whether Jian Wushuang had seen anything. Tongha Sword Immortal and Lianxing were also very surprised. Although I know it's not easy to ask. Of course, the premise is that Jian Wushuang's mortgage auction can buy the Tower of Nine Tribulations. Taoist, can you take out the treasure you pledged for inspection? Feng Jiwu knew that Jian Wushuang was recommended by Lianxing, so naturally he would not neglect. Jian Wushuang took out a piece of his finger with his backhand and said, "This is natural." As he said, he threw his finger over. When Dongjun's finger appeared, the powerful force also began to go outside. Ordinary strong people can only see that this finger contains a lot of divine power, thought it was a finger of some mighty person. But according to the divine power above, many people feel that although the value of this finger is extraordinary, it is still a bit whimsical to want to crush the 800,000 sacred stone of a stone show. At this moment, Jian Wushuang really looked like a whimsical look, and deliberately said to the sword fairy Tongha next to him, "Senior, I found this finger in the void of Outland. Its worth millions is not a problem, right?" This, Tongha Jianxian didn't want to hit Jian Wushuang, and didn't know how to export for a while. He is the Lord of the universe, and is not sensitive to the power of life. I haven't found a lot of life force in the fingers. However, those who are strong in sabotage have already felt the vigorous vitality in their fingers. After Feng Jiwu took the finger, Nianli dived in and started testing. Chapter 5783. Her own strength is not very good, but it is really difficult to check the strange thing. Otherwise, he will not host the auction. What a pure life force! Feng Jiwu said in surprise. This time, the masters of the universe were stunned. The force of life, extremely wood, the power of life only found in the willows, the power of life most needed to disperse the robbery. Jian Wushuang also put on an expression of surprise and asked inconceivably, "There is still life force in this finger?" Fellow Taoist is not in the tribulation realm and may not be very sensitive to life. There is indeed the power of life in this finger, which is covered by divine power. It is difficult to see even the Lord of the universe. Feng Jiwu slowly explained, from the bottom of his heart, but he was a little jealous of this lucky kid. This is the force of life, the power that can make Sanji crazy. For example, which one of the 7 Tribulations realm powerhouse who had previously competed for the Tower of 9 Tribulations, Lianxing, he has completely lost interest in the Tower of 9 Tribulations. With life force, all treasures are rubbish. What is the most important thing for Sanji? Increased strength? Totally impossible. It is fortunate not to fall. One buying the most precious treasures, going to trespass, is not just to be able to buy treasures that can sustain life force to maintain combat power. In the face of the purest force of life, sustaining life is nothing. This is an increase in life. Life increases, you can return to the peak period. Divine power naturally skyrocketed. Bailey, no harm. There was already a robbery who couldn't help it, and said excitedly, "Feng Jiwu, why don't you take out the life force from that finger? Or let me wait for the bid." Lianxing sneered and said domineeringly, "It's not necessary. I bought 1,000,000 yuan stone and bought it with this finger. 1,000,000. At this time, Sanjia in the Six Tribulations realm was also agitated. 1,000,000 is actually not much. If there are not enough mixed stones, all the treasures that are not needed are sold. Even selling the treasures needed is not a problem. I gave out 600,000 mixed yuan stones, plus a treasure of the universe in the Seven Tribulations realm. The person who offered the price was a powerhouse in the Six Tribulations realm. All the treasures of the universe in the Seven Tribulations realm were taken out. It seems that he has taken out his key treasures as mortgage, which is indeed crazy. But this is just the beginning. Next, the looting powerhouse kept quoting. It soared in an instant 2,000,000 mixed stones. Although Jian Wushuang knew from the bottom of his heart, after taking it out, it would cause frenzied competition. But I did not expect the bid to be so high. Is this 2,000,000 mixed stones? Shirxiu, who originally competed for the Tower of Nine Tribulations, had all quoted at this time, and they were overwhelming the audience. Obviously received news from the strong within the royal family. The force of life. It's about the combat power and life and death of Sanjia. Naturally, we have to fight for it. Don't forget, the wealth of the big family is under control. Just like the royal family of Shirgua, among the masters of the universe. Shirxiu is the strongest, but it was just the Six Tribulations realm. Can't carry the banner at all. Still need the Seven Tribulations realm, and even the ancestors of the Eight Tribulations realm to suppress all parties. So this life force must be obtained. In every auction, as long as the vitality appears, someone will light the sky lantern. It is inevitable. Strong people below the Six Tribulations realm are not qualified to make an offer. Soon it will be the Seven Tribulation realm frantically snatching with all forces. Jian Wushuang himself did not expect that the vitality he had just injected was so valuable, also frightened. Fortunately, some people believed the reason for his compilation. Tongha Sword Immortal said with envy, Jian Wushuang, your luck is really good. The divine power contained in this finger is of great value, and the internal life force can help the strong of the Eight Tribulations realm, and it is of infinite value. But I didn't find it. Jian Wushuang pretended to be silly, and he also had a good hand, pretending to know nothing, and also to ask about the power of life. I really want to doubt Jian Wushuang. I am afraid that these people also suspect that Jian Wushuang has obtained the treasure trove of a certain mighty person. Never thought that Jian Wushuang would master the power of life. At present, count some people in Qishan Temple. There are no more than 5 people who know his vitality. Several members of the giant tribe should have taken an oath, not counted. The rest is the true spirit of Qi Temple. The enemy is extinct. The last one in Guyu time and space. Bobby, these 3. There are 2 of them, both from the stars. There is another person who is not human. It's just the true spirit condensed in Kishan's original universe. Each is not general, like the super powerhouse of Guyu time and space. Even in the Eight Tribulations realm, he couldn't believe that someone would master the power of life. However, he can only do this kind of thing once. If you take out the power of life again, I am afraid that everyone will recognize that he has obtained the super secret storage. At that time, he was a moving treasure house, and it is estimated that a super existence would come to suppress him. Then search for the soul and get more life force. Naturally, Jian Wushuang would not do this kind of thing again. The first time was an adventure. The second time, it was to look for death. Even if he had a second soul, he didn't dare to make waves like this. The second soul has a miniature reincarnation, be regarded as the whole card left when fighting against the dead in the future. Okanshu, Calm after winning, he took the opportunity to reincarnate. Lost, the second soul ran away. Of course, he does not want to lose. The treasures on the deity are too important. The original starry sky of Jidao evolution can be said to be the only one. I want talk about the divine body. He couldn't bear the loss of the treasure alone. There are no beasts and gods, and there is no sky-viewing chessboard. Then his combat power will be greatly reduced. If it weren't because of the power of the blood, there was also the increase in divine power given by Bobby D. He is now at most 100,000 supernatural powers. There is no increase in the beast gods, that is, the emperor comparable to the robbery realm. Without the enlightenment of Guantian chessboard, he broke through to the Lord of the universe, and he didn't know when it was going to happen. So he can't lose, nor can he take risks in Guyu time and space. Can only play stupid hard. Whether others believe it or not, he already believes it anyway. There are already 3 million mixed stones. Jian Wushuang glared at Shuangkong. His joy was beyond words. From the bottom of his heart, Jian Wushuang was still looking at Lianxing secretly. This ancient Wood Continent's #1 Forge God Master is also a powerful saboteur. Although there is not much lack of vitality, but facing such a pure life force, he should also be tempted. If the opponent also enters the market, he can make a little bit more. Just when he was expecting it, Shi Xiu stretched out his hand and said calmly, Shi Xiu will light the sky lantern once today. Everyone continue. Say this as soon as possible. Many people in the hall were silent. I lit the sky lantern. Naturally, there is no need to bid again. It is already the highest price by default. It doesn't make sense for them to come out. Unless the Stone royal family went bankrupt, they can buy this life force. So no one dares to bid anymore. Jian Wushuang was a little speechless. Wouldn't it just drive down the price? Chapter 5784. At the same time, I also look forward to someone daring to fight with the Stone royal family. Unfortunately, no one said anything this time. Refining stars also doesn't mean to bid. Just when Jian Wushuang felt that there was no hope, a voice broke the silent hall. It'll give out 10 million yuan, sure. Jian Wushuang knows the person who quoted, Fan Tianfeng. After the price was reported, he took a look at Jian Wushuang. Fan Tianfeng's quotation made the strong in the palace stunned. Outsiders know that the flame and the stone country are almost tied together. Unexpectedly, he got on the bar. Shi Xiu's face is also a bit ugly. 10 million mixed stones. He can't even get it out by himself. Some powerful royal families in the Yu Kingdom were also a little puzzled and a little angry at Fan Tianfeng's offer. The descendants of the flame gods, although they are not unique and special beings, will also have the calamity and the supreme calamity. But the whole clan is also a powerful sabotage in the 7 tribulations realm. Most of the strong under the flame gods are disciples. The strong among the descendants are few. He is also not very optimistic. The only 7 tribulation realm powerhouse, although he failed to cross the tribulation, but with the help of the flame god, his strength has been maintained at the peak. There is no need for Fan Tianfeng to compete for life force here. Feng Jiwu was also a little embarrassed at this time, and she was even more jealous of Fan Tianfeng. 10 million yuan stone. That is already the worth of the Lord of the 6 Tribulations realm universe. If the sky lantern is not extinguished, it is endless. After Fan Tianfeng reported 10 million, Shi Xiu remained motionless. It just passed the matter of this place to the royal family. 10 million yuan stone is indeed a huge wealth for an individual, but for a royal family that has existed for endless years, this is nothing. It was mainly Fan Tianfeng's quotation, which was aimed at the royal family. An emperor, just ants. But behind her is the flame god, which has to make them take it seriously. Now, who doesn't know, the flame god is the #1 powerhouse in ancient Wood Continent. Shenmu King is almost dying of old age. The ancestor of Shirgwa was not much different. Only the flame gods can live forever, because it is a special life. There is no amount of calamity, but there is no original universe. Is the purest divine power practitioner. There are advantages, there are disadvantages. The flame gods have no origin universe, and their understanding is poor. The 8 Tribulations realm is basically the limit in terms of combat power. It's okay to crush and disperse the robbery. If he really had to meet the Lord of the Universe in the 8 Tribulations realm, he was basically ravaged by others. The master of the universe of the 8 Tribulations realm can bring the original universe into the body of the gods. Only the 8 Tribulations realm can do this. Basically, it is to fight with a dojo. The strength is almost a qualitative change. This is also the terrifying aspect of the master of the 8 Tribulations realm universe. Jian Wushuang was different from the Lord of the ordinary universe. Even if he was in the 3 Tribulations realm, as long as he condensed the universe, he could be included in the gods. In other words, it is in the stars. This is also a great advantage of Jidao. The speciality of the 8 Tribulations realm has created a huge power with the 8 Tribulations realm, and a deep heritage. This is also the kingdom of Shur, which can become the capital of the first kingdom of God among the 16 kingdoms. Even the Gumu faction was overwhelmed. This is because of the flame god. Now, that Fan Tianfeng doesn't give Shirgwa the face. Shirgwa really can't help it. No one knows what Fan Tianfeng thinks. Several 7 Tribulation realm ancestors in the Stone King clan were a little restless. If the flame gods need this life force, they naturally dare not fight. But I didn't say hello beforehand. Now Shirgwa has been put on the fire and is in a dilemma. Jian Wushuang didn't know what Fan Tianfeng was doing. He never expected that Fan Tianfeng would help him this time. Fan Tianfeng sat on the throne, his face was still, and he didn't care about the views of the Stone royal family. This time, she was indeed helping Jian Wushuang, not because of her relationship with Jian Wushuang. On the contrary, it was because she felt that this feeling of being superior was wonderful. Just raising his hand can make an emperor like Jian Wushuang crazy about it. Millions of mixed stones. At the same time, they are not afraid of the Stone Kings. Thanks Tut, Jian Wushuang coming out to mix, talking about background, not strength. Fan Tianfeng looked at Jian Wushuang and sneered in his heart. Jian Wushuang nodded excitedly. If he knew what Fan Tianfeng thought. Estimated to vomit blood. Madman. Shi Xiu's expression remained the same, but from the bottom of her heart, she was disgusted with this practice. He is the Lord of the universe, the hope of the Stone Kingdom, and he is not very dependent on the flame gods. It's not like the few robbers in the royal family. It can be said that the flame is the head of the horse. If the flame really wants this life force, I'm afraid a few old guys of the royal family will offer it with both hands. Thinking of this, Shi Xiu secretly made up his mind. Must become the master of the universe in the 7 Tribulations realm, even the 8 Tribulations realm. Reshape the glory of Shirgwa. There is no need to rely on a special life. Although Feng Zhiwu on the stage was embarrassed, she was also very dissatisfied with Fan Tianfeng's actions. But she was originally the descendant of the flame gods, and the superiority of the descendants of the gods made her feel this matter come as not too much. What are the Stone Kings? Without the flame gods, the current daughter country can crush the Stone country, let alone transcend Guma school. The rest of the strong in the temple all have ghosts in their hearts. I was also speculating whether this time the malicious offer of the young master of the kingdom of God was a signal that the flame god and the kingdom of stone were separated. Most of them are still jokes. The weakening of the stone country is good for everyone. Naturally enjoy it. I even want to see Fan Tianfeng continue to quote. Jian Wushuang felt that it was almost enough. 10 million, he was satisfied. Not only can you buy the Tower of Nine Tribulations, you can also participate in subsequent auctions. When it comes to the Lord of the Universe, he can't even use it up after a stick of incense was silent in the hall. Fan Tianfeng is not increasing the fare. The fingers containing the power of life fell into Shirshio's hands, and Shirshio paid 10 million yuan for the mixed stone. 10 million, although they are all mixed stones from the royal family. But Shirshio is a member of the royal family, still a little distressed. He crossed the seventh calamity, and the mixed yuan stone he prepared was only 20 million. This time, it cost 10 million. At the bottom of my heart, there is still some dissatisfaction. Fortunately, Fan Tianfeng did not increase the price. Otherwise, he would really vomit blood. Shirshio got the treasure. Jian Wushuang received tens of millions of mixed stones. Excitement is not a pretense. He really didn't expect that this life force could be sold for this price. This has exceeded the value of life force itself. To blame, it is the strange stone show that has to order some sky lanterns. Millions of mixed stones were spent in vain. The life force auction is over. The asking price of the Tower of Nine Tribulations continued. This time Jian Wushuang did not hesitate, pretending to be a nouveau riche, and directly offered 3 million. Chapter 5785. Let everyone shut their mouths. Shirshio also did not bid. Compared with the Tower of Nine Tribulations, the power of life is more real. If you buy it back, it's a decoration, but it won't be a big loss. Many people think Jian Wushuang is crazy now. An emperor has no idea about Hunyuan stone. The shot is 3 million. Maybe the Hunyuan stone was too easy. Jian Wushuang really didn't think there was anything wrong with this price. It has something to do with teacher Xian Yi, let alone 3 million, that is 30 million. He also has to take it down. Maybe this Tower of Nine Tribulations is not a weak view of the chessboard. The key to this Tower of Nine Tribulations carries the word 9 tribulations. It happens to be another 9 floors. It's enough to make people think about it. After the photo was taken, Jian Wushuang was directly included in the origin universe. No mustard seeds were added. Just a little worried. Want to confirm the resonance from the Guantian chessboard more quickly. It's just that there are too many people now. It's not easy to explore directly. It's never too late to study after going out. Now that there are still 7 million mixed stones left in his hand, there may be a treasure suitable for him next, and he can fight for it. Below the 7 tribulations realm, almost no one can dispute him. It's a pity that he doesn't use most of the auction items next. All were bought by the Lord of the Universe. He can't be too high profile. Even though he has a huge amount of money, he can't buy everything. Such a waste. This Hunyuan stone is of great help to the origin universe. He can also keep some to deal with the Lord who stepped into the universe later to stabilize his universe. So I didn't bid much later. There were several bids in the middle. Otherwise, it will appear that he is special to the Tower of Nine Tribulations. Only a few bids, and no treasures were photographed. Soon, the auction was coming to an end. Feng Jiwu also announced the 3 finale treasures of this auction. 3 treasures come out together, divided into A, B, C. The final treasure comes with a reserve price. The treasure with the code name A has the highest reserve price, a full 1 million mixstones. You know, this auction, if it weren't for the power of life and the Tower of Nine Tribulations, it would be difficult to sell a price of more than 1 million. The key is the reserve price. The first piece is a treasure of a font size. How suicide note. This is a treasure of innate origin. It is the most important treasure when crossing the seventh calamity. Once you have this treasure, you will have at least 10% more hope when you cross the seventh calamity. Corresponds to the supreme tribulation. The seventh highest calamity, the calamity of the origin universe, is the law of water. The origin of the soil is needed to deal with it. This thick soil suicide note is the key treasure. This treasure comes out. It immediately caused a sensation. In the hall, there are several masters of the universe of the six tribulations realm. And the background is unusual. The price began to soar instantly. Soon it reached 5 million. Although crazy, but the robbers can only watch. So I set my sights on the second treasure. Type C, the great desolate prisoner, Tianji. Seven Tribulation Realm Peak Secret Method. The base price is 800,000 mixstones. It is the pinnacle and unique knowledge created by the master of the universe of the seven tribulations realm. There is only one chance to learn. After learning, the jade slips storing the secret method will be broken. The emergence of this secret technique has caused a lot of competition for the Lord of the Five Tribulations realm universe at that time. The base price of 800,000 mixed yuan stone. The Lord of the universe in the Five Tribulations realm gritted his teeth, can also fight. The seven tribulation realms' scattered robbers felt a little bit of tears looking at Kong. The Lord of the universe in the six tribulations realm is competing for the Ho Tu Sui, not interested in this secret method. If oneself survives the seventh calamity, you have become the master of the universe in the seven tribulations realm. So why bother to learn the secrets of others? Just create it yourself. Jian Wushuang was not interested in this secret method. He doesn't need it himself. Divine power increase has beasts and gods. Kendo has a starry sky catalog waiting for him to create his own pinnacle secret method. It is necessary to learn from others. The Tongha sword immortal next to him is competing for the Hotu suicide note, and it seems that even his most precious treasure was taken out as a mortgage. Now, the first price has exceeded 10 million, and it's still rising. The Lord of the Seven Tribulations realm universe, that was already the top powerhouse of Guyu time and space. Whether it's a casual repair or a big force, all are competing. If you become the master of the Seven Tribulations realm universe, you will be able to open up the seven-star sect. If a great power has a seven tribulation realm universe master, it can instantly rise to the top power. The master of the universe with the seven tribulations realm can also open up a territory on a grand scale. Let the family and the sect develop rapidly. The power of the master of the universe with the seven tribulations realm will hardly be destroyed, because in his dojo, the master of the universe in the seven tribulations realm has the power of the eight tribulations realm. As long as it doesn't provoke the master of the universe in the eight tribulations realm, it is invincible. In Guyue time and space, the Lord of the universe in the eight tribulations realm, almost every divine dragon had not seen the end. Most of them have left Guyu time and space. It takes a lot of luck to anger an eight tribulations realm. So in the entire Guyu time and space, the Lord of the seven tribulations realm universe was almost undefeated. Therefore, the masters of the universe of the six tribulations realm, faced with Hota's suicide note, were all excited and could not wait to fight for their lives. The several masters of the Six Tribulations realm universe lighted the sky lanterns, overwhelming all the worth. If the treasure is gone, you can go to the secret realm again and fight for it. However, there will not be a few copies of this thick earth suicide note in one era. Must get. Everyone, it's too much. Shirshio's eyes were also bloodshot. The current price has exceeded 20 million mixed stones. So much so that the second secret method has been auctioned off. There is still a stalemate here. As soon as Shirshio spoke, there was a master of the universe of the Six Tribulations realm mockingly said, "Why, the Stone Country has a great cause, and he still cares about this. If it weren't for this place to be an auction, the masters of the Six Tribulations realm universe, would probably be able to fight. This treasure can be auctioned. The person who gets it is highly likely to be the master of the universe in the Seven Tribulations realm. Otherwise, it will never be put up for auction. Anyone who is powerful will be left to the younger generation." Shirshio knew that this time she was going to be serious, and she was not talking nonsense. The sky lantern was also lit. Only this time when the sky lantern was lit, no one gave him face. The price was directly driven up to 50 million mixed stones. In the end, Shirshio, a member of the Stone royal family, won the thick soil suicide note with 50 million yuan of mixed stones. If the Lord of the Six Tribulations realm universe were to condense, it would take 50,000 epochs of time. There will be consumption in the middle. Still need to practice. You have to buy some precious divine treasures to enhance your divine power. If you want to store 50 million mixed stones, the difficulty is too high. 50 million is an astronomical figure for the Lord of the universe in the Seven Tribulations realm. Shirshio, who had already reached the Six Tribulations realm to perfection, really needed this treasure. If it can succeed in crossing the robbery, State is the master of the universe of the Seven Tribulations realm. There is no need to skip relying on the flame gods. Chapter 5786. Moreover, the value of the master of the Seven Tribulations realm cosmos is far more than 50 million yuan stone. In addition to the increase in combat power, there is also the opportunity to attack the Eight Tribulations realm. Presumably, most of the strong value this opportunity more. Sanjia, the strong are even more envious. This is why the top 10 Seven Tribulation realm powerhouses back then went to besiege Emperor Bobby. Isn't it just for the first line of life? With the end of the thick soil suicide note, this auction is also about to end. Now, there is a treasure left. The base price is 500,000 yuan mixed stone. The treasure of the acquired universe, although it is not an innate treasure of the universe. But this treasure of the acquired universe, it was refined by using the essence and blood of a special being in the Seven Tribulations realm. The value is also high. The upper limit is also in the Eight Tribulations realm. But the current mighty power is only around the Five Tribulations realm. It takes 500,000 supernatural powers to be able to move. It can be regarded as the second most precious treasure that is more suitable for the Lord of the Five Tribulations realm universe. In addition to the natal treasures, some other treasures can also be cultivated. This treasure is very good. At least the upper limit is high. Valiant is also very powerful. The comparison is made by using a special life in the Seven Tribulations realm. Of course, it is incomparable with the beasts. This treasure of the acquired universe only used the essence and blood of that special life. Jian Wushuang's beast god weapon used a complete innate beast god. In terms of origin, it is much stronger than the potential of the acquired treasure. So, Jian Wushuang was not interested in the last treasure. Ancient temple jade pot. Feng Jiwu introduced it on the high platform. The powerhouse below, the master of the universe in the six tribulations realm, does not need, and there is no need to cultivate the supreme treasure to increase combat power. It is better to prepare for the impact of the seventh calamity. The Lord of the universe in the five tribulations realm is different. Their demand for combat power is still great. The crisis of the six tribulations realm is far less terrible than the seven tribulations realm. Therefore, we must improve our combat power and go to war. This ancient temple jade pot is very suitable for the Lord of the five tribulations realm universe. In the hall, there are already many strong men who have begun to leave. Almost all of the powerhouses in the seven tribulation realm left the scene. The Lord of the universe in the six tribulations realm has also gone a lot. The fight for the last treasure was a fight between the five tribulations realm and the four tribulations realm of the master of the universe. There is nothing good about it. Lianqing also got up and left at this time. However, before leaving, he spoke to Jian Wushuang. Boy, this treasure is very suitable for you. It's best to take a picture. Jian Wushuang frowned slightly. Suitable for him? Ancient temple jade pot. Although the refined materials are very special, they are the treasures of the acquired universe. But for him as an emperor, it may not be suitable. The biggest function of this jade pot is to store its own divine power. When fighting the strong, release the divine power that has long been condensed inside. Does not consume its own divine power. It is a one-time treasure that can be used repeatedly. The stored divine power is limited, and every time it is released, it needs to be refilled. Ordinary divine power practitioners will naturally get full marks when added. But Jian Wushuang is no ordinary person. It is indeed suitable to think so. It's just that the asking price now exceeds 1 million. Jian Wushuang didn't really want to waste so many Hunyuan stones to buy a chicken rib. If this ancient temple jade pot can store its origin, he will definitely buy it. The intention is at the source, not at the divine power. In the future, there is a high probability that it will not be too biased towards divine power. So he is not like being distracted to nurture this treasure. There are beast soldiers and generals. His treasures are almost all the treasures of divine power. There is no need to buy this jade pot again. However, he did not rush to refute Lianqing. Instead, Transmit asked, "Senior, what is so special about this jade pot?" Jian Wushuang is not stupid either. Naturally refining the stars says it has a big effect. So simply ask the other party to translate what is a big effect for him. If you move him, go and buy it again. Nothing to say and no loss. It's a matter of blood earning. Putting it on others, star refining will not be wasted. When Lianqing heard Jian Wushuang's doubts, he didn't conceal it and said his own opinions. There is a special place about this ancient jade pot which was not mentioned by Feng Jiwu, because Feng Jiwu said didn't mean it. That is the power of the ancient temple jade pot, which is related to the origin. In fact, the origin of this ancient jade pot is the strongest. The stronger the source, the more the stored divine power is against the sky. Lianqing knows that Jian Wushuang's origin is far beyond ordinary people. That's why it is recommended. Guyu time and space is a time and space dominated by divine power. Therefore, Feng Jiwu did not give much introduction to the origin. Telling these people is of little use, because this is not the key, but this has a much greater effect on Jian Wushuang. This also gave him the need to shoot. 100 and 800,000. Jian Wushuang slowly raised his hand and offered his own price. Directly caused the strong in the hall to sink his face instantly. A Stone King clan's five tribulations realm universe master even got up and said angrily, Jian Wushuang, you are a little emperor. Don't think that you can compete with me if you have a mixed element stone. Don't be careful. Lost my life. The master of the five tribulations, realm universe, is still Shi Xiu's disciple. It is also a core member of the royal family. Naturally, I knew about him and Shurjiu. In addition, he was maliciously quoted by Fan Tianfeng before, and he dared not retaliate against Fan Tianfeng, and he did not dare to take the opportunity to teach him this gainer. It's just that Jian Wushuang now is really worthy of the Lord of the Five Tribulations realm universe. Fighting is definitely not an opponent, but the opponent wanted to rely on his strength and tyranny, so he was overwhelmed. That is also impossible. At the moment he got up, looked obliquely, weighed the mustard seeds in his hand, and said, "This fellow Taoist, if you think there is a problem with your bid, you can continue to bid. Why bother with me, or say you can't get it? Out of 8 million mixed stones." Little monarch, dare to speak wildly. If it weren't for luck and the power of life, where did you get so many mixed stones? Jian Wushuang sneered and sat back on the throne. He just said lightly, "Don't forget that power of life, but your royal family bought it. If you don't want it, you can return it." As soon as these words came out, the Lord of the Five Tribulations realm universe turned red. That power of life was indeed bought by the royal family, and now it may be in the hands of several ancestors. Such pure life force would even be dedicated to the first ancestor in the royal family, powerful in the 8 tribulations realm. However, Jian Wushuang knew the power of life he had condensed best. That power of life do more to help the Lord of the 7 tribulations realm universe. The 8 tribulations realm is not used at all. He condensed the purest life force for those 7 tribulations realm powerhouses. It was the desert meeting the oasis. But for the 8 tribulations realm, it's just a drop in the bucket. Useless. At the beginning, the Taoist could help 6 tribulations realm. The Emperor is now helping the 7 tribulations realm. Chapter 5787. When he reaches the Lord of the Universe, he may be able to condense the power to restore the vitality of the 8 tribulations realm powerhouse. This power is far more terrifying than it is now. The master of the 5 tribulations realm universe in Shi Kingdom knew that Jian Wushuang could not be frightened by wasting his tongue, so he simply turned and left. A treasure for your own use. Then you have to pay for it yourself. At this time, the family is unreliable. If everyone let the family take care of it, it's already dilapidated, unless it is the top figure in the family. Only the strength of the family will be cultivated. Not everyone is like Fan Tianfeng. Jian Wushuang was quite curious. What exactly did the flame like about Fan Tianfeng? Actually treated like this, entering the ancient moon time and space, but more than 10,000 years. 10,000 years let the flame establish such a position for Fan Tianfeng. This woman is not simple. 800,000 mixed yuan stone took down the ancient temple jade pot. The auction also officially ended. Before leaving, Jian Wushuang nodded at Fan Tianfeng. He didn't speak, but he was grateful. If there is a chance before leaving Shi country, see Fan Tianfeng again. Tell as much as you can about what you know. Can't look at each other to die. From Guyu time and space, go to Qi Temple. I don't know how many epochs and how many time and space are needed. During this period of time, Fan Tianfeng was able to become the Lord of the Universe. Even with a few 7 tribulations realm powerhouses, there are still the law bodies of the flame gods. He also felt that there was no possibility of defeating extinction. Extinction is like his destiny. No one can beat him except him. Follow the stone stairs and leave the auction below. Jian Wushuang appeared in some other courtyard in Nancheng. After coming out, what surprised him was that Lianxing was actually waiting for him. It seems that you bought the ancient temple. Lianxing nodded with relief. Jian Wushuang quickly thanked him. Thank you, senior, for your advice. This treasure is based on the eyes of seniors. Lips are worthless. At this time, I'm really sorry for the other party if I don't go flattering. Lianxing waved his hand and said casually, no matter the little things, let me go. The materials have been collected, and you can start refining the god-level sword blanks. Jian Wushuang nodded. The two left together. This time, go directly to the core of the 9th layer. Purgatory world. The temperature is so high that it can melt the universe. Jian Wushuang relied on the beast gods to explode with 500,000 supernatural powers to be able to resist. The flow rate here is very slow. 1 year outside, here is 10,000 years. Refining Xing continued. It takes 30,000 years to refine a god-level sword blank. You can resist it. This is just the beginning. Jian Wushuang's determined eyes remained unchanged. He can eat hard. To be 10,000 times the flow rate. He didn't notice it. It also shows that the space here is extremely firm. Fusion with time. Instead of those simple formations he set up, although the flow rate is high, it is not stable. In this place, it is necessary to ensure the stability of the space. Refining stars also cost a huge price. This time Jian Wushuang was anxious and wanted to refine his sword blanks here. Let's start. Refining the stars manipulated the flames and began to fuse materials. This step is the easiest. All materials are fused, not melted into liquid like everything else. Jian Wushuang was also the first time to observe such a superb method. I was surprised to see it. All the materials are finally transformed into the original aura floating in the sky. That is invisible. Lianxing also began to pay full attention and shouted, "Gather!" The breath was reversed and began to shrink inwardly. From this point alone, Jian Wushuang could see the mystery in the space, and it was vividly reflected. The introverted and contracted breath is constantly being suppressed. The force of air pressure started to break the space. The power of power is beyond ordinary people's imagination. The sword blank of the gods. How could it be so simple? Some techniques behind. Jian Wushuang, who was watching, even took a cold breath. Originally, he still held that he might be able to become a Tianjiao with the refining device. Now, it seems that he has no chance. 10,000 years ago, he almost watched. For thousands of years, Lianxing repeatedly compressed and restrained his breath, finally formed a scarlet gas. Already had the shape of a sword. Jian Wushuang. After connecting it within 10,000 years, the power of mind will not be broken, otherwise all previous efforts will be lost. With a stroke of the finger of Lianxing, the red sword shadow floated towards Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang didn't move, but his thought power rushed out of his body, condensing a pair of huge palms with thought power, holding the sword energy. Jian Wushuang instantly felt that his thought power was fading faster. Is this a test of will? It's a bit. Too much pediatrics. What? Jian Wushuang broke out, directly exerting eternal changes. Here, the divine power is to deal with the temperature contained in the flame. The power of mind depends on the strength of the source. The power of the blue, starry sky surrounds. Let Jian Wushuang reach the peak state. The power of mind is strengthened again. Lianxing's eyes flickered, and he whispered, "Is this your confidence?" What he is optimistic about Jian Wushuang is that unstoppable confidence has absolute self-confidence and also has absolute strength of the same level. That is the absolute powerhouse of the future, resistant As long as the power of mind is washed away for 10,000 years, it will be half done. Lian Xing reminded him from the side. Jian Wushuang didn't speak, just holding the sword energy like this. With his stubborn expression, all admired him. That requires a lot of perseverance and will, and only Jian Wushuang knows the bitterness of it. This is why Xing wanted to persuade him in the first place. This kind of torture can't be resisted by everyone, and the powerhouse of the 8 tribulations realm naturally doesn't care. But Jian Wushuang is just an emperor. An emperor, why does he have to fight like this? No one knows. Some people may not understand why the fate of a time and space will fall on an emperor, this kind of sorrow. But Jian Wushuang never lost his confidence because of this, and never complained, even if the true spirit used him as a bait. He regards this injustice of fate as his own calamity. He will use himself to be stronger than his peers to cover up the responsibility he shouldn't bear. 10,000 years. In a flash of smoke, under the washing of Nian Li, that sword aura already overlapped with him. The effect has arrived. Refining stars is not nonsense. Move Jian Qi from Jian Wu's hands to the next. Then he took out an ordinary divine sword with a scabbard. It seems ordinary, but this magic sword is forged with the hardest time and space crystallization of time and space. Nothing can be destroyed below the 7 tribulations realm. Of course, it is not invincible. It can't destroy the Excalibur itself, but it can also destroy its internal origin. And the internal origin is Jian Wushuang's sword energy that has been washed away for 10,000 years. Sword Qi entered its sheath, and power erupted. However, Jian Qi and Jian Wushuang overlap, but they do not overlap with this divine sword. This requires the means of refining stars. Blend the two together. It will be 70% successful. The rest is how Jian Wushuang recognizes the master. At that time, Jian Wushuang's origin was needed to suppress the Excalibur. The time required to refine the stars is very short. Chapter 5788. Within a few years, he merged the divine sword with the sword Qi. It is equivalent to let the ordinary swords have their origins. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath. God-level sword blank immediately succeeded. This divine sword will follow him throughout his life. There was another muffled noise. In the sky, blood fell. The sword blank is complete. You need to refine the rest by yourself. Lianxing also showed a trace of exhaustion. In the past, he hadn't been so tired for refining the slabs of the gods. This time it was a bit special. Jian Wushuang's Jian Wushuang was so powerful for some reason. It almost overturned. This also made him curious about the origin of Jian Wushuang, how to practice to have such a powerful source. He has also heard that the practice methods in other time and space are different from those in Guyu time and space. My heart also faintly guessed that Jian Wushuang should have obtained other time and space methods. But I didn't expect Jian Wushuang to come from a long river of time and space. When the pressure came to Jian Wushuang again, this time he will use both hands to connect the divine sword. Because this time the Excalibur has a sword body. The moment he held the divine sword, his Tao heart began to tremble. A powerful force directly impacted the depths of his soul. Jian Wushuang frowned slightly, but he held it steady. The final step of the God-level sword blank. Inject your own origin. Suppress the origin of the Excalibur. It's a process of acknowledgement, but I don't know how many people have fallen in this step. At the same time, there are also benefits. The stronger the origin of the Excalibur. Jian Wushuang held the divine sword. One's own origin is to start injecting. The origin of the starry sky entered instantly. In Jian Wushuang's mind, Wang Ming felt a piece of it. A huge catalog of the starry sky spread out. In the starry sky, the divine sword turned into 9 handles. There are 5 handles forming a long river of time and space. There are also 4 handles which are inlaid in the starry sky. It will make my starry sky catalog resonate. Jian Wushuang himself did not expect to have an unexpected surprise. Originally, he still needed the pinnacle secret method he kept creating. There was a prototype in an instant. The current sword blank does not seem to have entered the origin of the divine sword, but the sword blank entered his starry sky origin, standing on top of the stars. There are 4 sword shadows inlaid in the starry sky. He can't move, but he could copy the 5 divine swords in the long river of time and space below. These 5 sword shadows were constantly devouring the origin of his starry sky at this time. It is a pity that the source of absorption is just sprinkling water for him. Negligible. I thought it would be more difficult. It now seems that it is not as difficult as the difficulty of mind washing. It's not hard for him at all. Even let him use this opportunity to create his own star catalog. Originally a picture of the starry sky catalog. Now, I want to describe the first sword. Life, the essence of all things condensed. Jian Wushuang fell into enlightenment, began to study carefully. This sword is the same as when he just created the starry sky catalog. It's not for killing the enemy. Everything in life. It's just embedded in the starry sky. It hasn't really fallen. His starry sky catalog, although invincible with a sword. But I haven't really seen blood. They all freeze the strong in the painting. Finally, use other means to kill. Life is the greatest essence of this sword. With the previous background, Jian Wushuang opened his eyes and muttered silently, "The first sword is a life and a new beginning." The first sword, and begin to comprehend the second sword. At least he can comprehend the 5 sword chis now. In the starry sky catalog, 5 sword moves are drawn. The first sword, life. The second sword, let it die. After Jian Wushuang finished speaking, a black mist appeared on the center of his eyebrows. It seems to destroy the upper body. Suddenly, he had a completely new understanding of the power of death. This also depends on the second soul of Qixin. Although the distance is far away, the second soul has been in retreat, unable to withdraw. But some mysteries have been absorbed into the deity. This second sword was formed like this. Die. Life. The 2 are in conflict with each other. It seems to be incompatible, but they complement each other, and the power caused by the rebellion of the 2 is at least hundreds of times stronger than a single sword. The power of the first sword and the second sword is actually the same. It's just a different function. The first sword of life, good at restraining powerful enemies. The second sword killed the enemy without authorization. After Jian Wushuang familiarized himself with the principles contained in the first 2 swords, he began to calligraphy and painting the third sword, reincarnation. I create life and walk with death. The mark on his forehead began to change and finally condensed into 2 identical fishes. 1 black and 1 white. Yin and yang killing. Reincarnation sword, success. Although it was created. But it's much harder to use it because the load is too big. He can barely use the first sword. The second sword won't work. Even if the 2 powers are the same, they can't be used. Unless you reach the Lord of the universe. I have the origin of the universe. As for the third sword, according to his estimation, the origin must reach the power of 100,000 black holes before it can be used. Now his origin, let alone supporting reincarnation. Even death can't support it. Only after the universe is perfectly formed can more power be created in it. You reading www.okanshu.com. It's just that now that he expresses the meaning of painting, all of his brain is welling up in his heart. Constantly improve my Starry Sky catalog. This feeling is wonderful. Unconsciously created such a pinnacle secret method. The first sword was born from life. The second sword goes with death. The third sword, yin and yang, are one, sending the ants into reincarnation. Jian Wushuang was very satisfied. He looked at his Starry Sky catalog, dropped his sword again, and said to himself, time and space. His origin is the orthodox way of time and space. Although the Starry Sky is condensed, before becoming a Starry Sky, he must at least reach the point of mastering time and space. This is impossible to jump. The fourth sword was formed instantly. Countless fragments, sword shadows, growth, kendo, memories. All the scenes keep going backwards. Jian Wushuang seemed to shuttle his timeline. Finally return to reality. Time and space, success. 5 swords in the star catalog. Comprehend the 4 sword chi among them. It's still the last one. From the beginning, he had a goal. The last sword is the reincarnation of time and space. This is also the foreshadowing of the previous life. 9 sword chi. Enter the Starry Sky. 4 sword auras are embedded in the Starry Sky, and he cannot comprehend them. Only when you reach a higher level can you comprehend it. The 5 sword auras depicted in the Starry Sky catalog now are enough for him to move vertically and horizontally in the Lord of the Universe. The first sword of life can be used as an emperor. When he had no clear goal before, his might was enough to slay a powerful person in the 3 tribulations realm. Now, the enlightenment is complete. Power also soared. With the origin of the emperor, I am afraid that he will be able to blast the 4 tribulations realm powerhouse. His previous combat power relied entirely on beasts and divine weapons and eternal changes. Instead, he forgot the strongest kendo. Chapter 5789. Now reorganize the kendo, creating a complete Starry Sky 5 swords. It is also normal for combat power to soar directly. If it weren't for his divine power to change because of the power of blood, his current combat power is probably kendo. It's just that this change will be normal after reaching the Lord of the Universe. The basic divine power of 400,000 is nothing in the Lord of the Universe. The strong man in the 4 tribulations realm has a basic divine power of 400,000. In the future, you have to rely on kendo. Jidao condenses all things into one, which is the source of kendo. Jian Wushuang's lifestyle is also kendo, and only the whole cards of kendo can make him feel at ease. With 5 swords, the Lord of the Universe is invincible. Just when his 5th sword came together, the whole source began to tremble. Even the stars are shaking. Jian Wushuang was taken aback. Backed quickly, but for a second thought, this is his origin Starry Sky. Where can he retreat? Immediately, I began to use my mind to investigate my origin, wanting to see where the problem occurred. Only after he went deep did he find out. The 4 inlaid sword auras in the Starry Sky are actually constantly devouring the origin of the Starry Sky. Jian Qi changed from dark red to light blue. Look back at the universe that is about to be lit. In the catalog of the Starry Sky in the universe, the 5 swords he created by his comprehension turned blue. This is the power of the stars that swallowed him. The origin of the sword blank has also evolved into the origin of the Starry Sky. At this moment, in the outside world, Lian Xing was staring at Jian Wushuang incredulously. He found that the god-ranked sword blank he had just refined was transforming. It seems that because of Jian Wushuang's origin, a certain advancement has taken place. The legend is true. treasures above the gods can really be created. Lian Xing's mouth grew wide, and he didn't expect that one of his kind deeds would be able to refine his life's peak. At this moment, everything is worth it. The pinnacle of the caste god, although only for a moment. It was because of Jian Wushuang's origin. But this is enough. Speaking out, he refined this divine sword after all. After being surprised, he began to meditate and finally shook his head and muttered to himself, "No matter what you achieve in the future, you will eventually have a cause and effect with me today." Now he sees Jian Wushuang. There is no upper limit, because it has exceeded his cognition. No matter what, he couldn't see through Jian Wushuang's background. That's why Jian Wushuang's achievements have no upper limit. Anyway, cause and effect were formed. The stronger Jian Wushuang, the better. In this way, he can also be touched. It also saves face to speak out. In the starry sky, the origin is still trembling. 9 sword auras are still being swallowed. The 4 sword auras were embedded in the starry sky, swallowing even more powerfully. Jian Wushuang was going crazy. The origin of the starry sky is his pie for the future. There can be no mistakes. Can only bite the bullet and break into the starry sky, standing under the magnificent 4 swords. Instead, he became extremely small. If the first 5 swords can let him cross the master of the universe, then these 4 swords has surpassed the Lord of the universe. Jian Wushuang looked at the 6th sword aura, fell from the top, carefully observed, and finally muttered to himself, "With this sword technique, it can be an enemy in ancient times. If it is a certain day, the 6th sword can be used. The 3 eternal existences of the 9 great space-times." He dared to fight. This is not arrogance, but confidence. The 6th sword is too powerful. As for the 3 swords behind, he couldn't even make enlightenment. In other words, I can't understand it. And it keeps getting stronger. Swallowing a large amount of starry sky power, Jian Wushuang felt a little uneasy in his heart, as if a child had done something bad, worried about being seen by an adult. The more he thought about it, the more Jian Wushuang felt that in the depths of the starry sky, there was a huge eye staring at him. Perhaps that is not an illusion. Jian Wushuang looked at the depths of the starry sky, and at the same time, the depths of the starry sky were also watching him. Outside time and space, within the source, in the stars, a huge pupil opened his pupil in the starry sky and looked at the long river of time and space flowing towards the end. With just a glance, he looked through time and space. After seeing Jian Wushuang, he closed his eyes again. When this huge eye closed, Jian Wushuang in the source also lost the sense of oppression he had just now and let out a sigh of relief. At this time, he found that Yuan was not trembling anymore, and he was calm again. The 4 sword auras had turned dark blue. It seems to have swallowed enough. Fortunately, Jian Wushuang actually squeezed a cold sweat. After returning to the universe, he lit up. A blue sword floated in front of him. Blue scabbard, ice blue blade. A slaughter came to my heart. Peerless weapon. Jian Wushuang put away the blade. The divine sword returned to its sheath, causing a roar of the blue dragon. Look at the lines on the scabbard again. Jian Wushuang frowned. Originally, there were only simple lines on the scabbard, but now there is an extra eye. Looks extremely scary. The eyes are huge and lifelike. In the eyes, there is this figure. The figure stood on top of Songshan, with his back facing him. Can't see the face clearly. Is it condensed because of the power of the stars? Jian Wushuang was puzzled, and there was no way to verify it. Might not know about it. Can only let go of this idea. The sword blank is finished. This time I came to Shirgua to complete it. Holding the scabbard in one hand, Jian Wushuang left his original starry sky. Seeing Jian Wushuang return to consciousness, Xingxing knew that Jian Wushuang had succeeded. This time he did not have any accidents. Jian Wushuang saw the other party with a calm expression on his face. He thought that the level was not that difficult, so he said, "Senior, the divine sword is done." "Not bad. Let me see how this sword blank is." Lianxing reached out his hand and took the magic sword. When he wanted to draw the sword, he felt a chill in his heart and found that he could not activate the magic sword. It was a little embarrassing and shocked for a while. It was stronger than he expected, and he couldn't pull it out. There was a high probability that only the master of the divine sword could pull it out. But in front of a junior, even his own refining sword blank was pulled out. It was impossible to tell the truth. So I found a set of rhetoric for myself, and also told Jian Wushuang, "This is the treasure of your life. You must draw the sword. This is the rule. Even if I refine it, you can't draw it out." As he said, he handed the hilt to Jian Wushuang and motioned Jian Wushuang to pull it out and let him observe it. Jian Wushuang really believed it and said quickly and politely, "This sword is made by seniors. Seniors don't have to be polite." But seeing the other party insisted, he began to respect star making from the bottom of his heart. No loss is the #1 casting master of the ancient Wood continent. Not only is he invincible, but his demeanor is probably also a large group of 7 tribulation realms. Think of those 7 tribulations realm powerhouses who have taken refuge in Emperor Bobby, and then look at refining stars. It's a huge difference. Chong, the Excalibur is out of its sheath, and the ice blue blade makes people fearful. "Senior, please." After Jian Wushuang pulled out the divine sword, he held the hilt with one hand, the tip of the sword pointed down, and handed it to Lianxing. Chapter 57-90. Looking at the surface of the divine sword, Lianxing swallowed for a while, his face filled with smiles. The pinnacle of work. How can I not be excited? There was some sweat on the palm of his hand. In order to avoid staining the hilt of the sword, he rubbed his hand against his body. This kind of little detail was remembered by Jian Wushuang, and he secretly said, "Pay attention to people." But the next moment, when he said that the hilt of the sword was handed to Lianxing's hand, and let go, Lianxing fell directly from midair to the ground at the fastest speed. The ice blue divine sword floated above the flames. No matter how hard he tried to refine the stars, he couldn't pick up the divine sword. Jian Wushuang was also taken aback, and he landed quickly and came to Lianxing's side, carrying, "Senior, are you all right?" "Ahem." Lianxing quickly let go, then turned around and carried Jian Wushuang, clenched his fist, and coughed twice on his mouth, and said, "It's a small thing, but I didn't expect this sword to be special. You can put it away quickly." Jian Wushuang also felt that this was a problem with Excalibur. With the scabbard, Xingxing could easily follow it, but after being pulled out, it was in Xingxing's hands, but it couldn't be picked up. He picked up the hilt of the sword casually, guessing in his heart, it should be the reason for the hilt. Only recognize the power of the stars, so outsiders can't pull it out. Thinking about it this way, when refining Xing had just held the hilt, he was finally asked to draw the sword, which is probably also fooling him. Thinking of this, Jian Wushuang was a little bit dumbfounded. After returning the divine sword to its sheath, he carried it behind his back. The kendo of the starry sky comes from the kendo of Nie Yuan. He had laughed at the other side before, carrying a broken sword on his back. Now he has inherited this point from Nie Yuan, carrying the Excalibur. The sword does not leave. In order to overcome the embarrassment just now, Jian Wushuang said sincerely, "Senior Star Refining, this sword does not yet have a name. The younger generation is shallow. It is better to give a name to the senior. Since you are so interested, the old man will break the rules and give you one." Star Refining is still very happy. Unexpectedly, Jian Wushuang asked him to nominate. If it's someone else, he might not feel that way yet. It's just that the treasures refined this time are not ordinary, especially the icy blue sword blade that makes people feel chilly. Definitely surpassed the previous ranked treasure. Much stronger than the treasures of the acquired universe he refined. It is also his honor to name this treasure. So Xingxing thought about it very seriously for a while. Then his eyes lit up and thought of a name. Millions of Tribulation. The meaning is immortal. Just call it Myriad Tribulation Sword. Lianxing said. Jian Wushuang said silently, Sword of 10,000 Tribulations. When he was at Daojun, he had a sword skill that is 1,000 calamities. It's just that at that time, I didn't understand the robbery realm. Now it sounds like this name is really pleasing to his ears after he became the Lord of the Universe. Thank you, Senior, for giving the name. Jian Wushuang was quite satisfied. Originally, he felt that the name was useless, so he didn't pay much attention to it. Lianxing smiled lightly and said, Well, since the magic weapon has been completed, I will not keep you. I believe we will meet again soon. Holy Assembly. The holy meeting is coming. Knowing that Jian Wushuang was going to participate in the holy meeting, Lianxing did not keep him. Compare just got the sword blank. You also need to be familiar with and create your own kendo secrets. He still didn't know that Jian Wushuang had created a perfect universe secret method. It's just that the strength is weak now, and it can't be used. Jian Wushuang also knew that Xingxing was for his sake, although the peak secret method of kendo had already been created. But regarding the secret method of super eternal change, we still can't give up. We must perfect it as much as possible so that he can directly use it after he becomes the master of the universe. And he still has 2 secret treasures on his body now, and he hasn't studied it yet. Tower of 9 Tribulations and the ancient temple. Now, there is only 1 or 2 years left before the congregation. Go to Guma school in advance. So the time left for Jian Wushuang was less than a year. He also needs the flow of time to comprehend. Otherwise, the time is really not enough. Bid farewell to star refining. Originally planned to meet again with Fan Tianfeng to have a detailed discussion. Even 1 day is enough. But when he called Fan Tianfeng, the other party was already in retreat. This is to hit the robbery realm. Can't get out in a short time. He could only use the token given to them by the real spirit to remind Fan Tianfeng. The strength of extinction is not superficial. The horror of death is far from simple. Some things are too thorough, but others don't believe them. Still have to be cryptic. At least ask the other person to think. Consider what he said. This will make memory long. Don't take people with you. It ended up all in one pot. Instead, let the strength of extinction go 1 step further. Top 10 powerhouses in Qi Temple. Originally, she was only optimistic about Huiqing. But now Jian Wushuang is unwilling to give up any of them. Maybe their fate is not bad. All have the means to solve the extinction. For example, Wu Zhuo. At this time, Wu Zhuo, who was deeply trapped in the mysterious realm of Wuhua, was spotted by a real big man. Not malicious. Wu Zhuo, who came to Guyu time and space, was the one who had the slowest increase in strength among the current 10. Compared with Fan Tianfeng's early luck is still a bit worse. No matter how bad it is, there is no shortage of opportunities for cultivation. That is, Jian Wushuang's strength has grown too fast, and every opportunity is just right. Only then will his strength skyrocket rapidly. In fact, Wu Zhuo had improved fast enough now, but compared with Jian Wushuang, it was not so obvious. But this time, it was watched by a big man. His outbreak period has also arrived. Everyone is fighting. Huiqing did not give up in the core area of the ancient moon ruins. There are Zhen Wuyang, Tongtian Buddha, and the ancient superpowers Dongsheng and Wanyan in the primitive universe. These people have a lot of opportunities. They are extremely confident in the future. Fan Tianfeng is the first to return to Qi Temple, depart from Stone King capital. He did not take the teleportation array. There is no teleportation array established between the kingdoms. After all, they are all considered hostile relationships. Establish a teleportation array. Isn't this a chance for the other party to steal home? So, Jian Wushuang can only fly. Fortunately, his speed is fast enough. At the same time, it can also be transmitted through the teleportation array between some small cities. It only takes about a month to return to Vietnam. Before leaving Shirgua, he once again came to Lufengpo, then dived directly into the ground. He left the country mark at the beginning. According to the marks, he quickly reached the hole that was previously punched, all the way down. But when he came to a small space, but found nothing inside, it seems that there is no pink mass at all. This made him extremely shocked. Could it be that it ran out too? Jian Wushuang's eyes shrank. Look around. A cold sweat behind his back. Jian Wushuang frowned, thinking of the monster. They are really a group. Chapter 57:91. If so, his letting go twice was a serious sin. It's not that he made a fuss, but it is these two monsters. Both are amazing. I don't know who their creator is. Now that he can't find it, he can only return to Vietnam first. After returning to the country of Yu, I went to Wu Mansion first, where I learned about the destruction of his mansion. After asking again, he had already determined that it was made by the beetle monster. That blood pool, I am afraid it has been swallowed. Wu Ligong was about to discuss with him about the sacred meeting, but Jian Wushuang hurriedly said goodbye. For him, there is nothing to discuss. There are some things, no matter how good they are before the eyes, it is useless. Now his strength is strong enough. Wu Li, an ally, is also a bit out of date. Not a threat, but not a qualified teammate. After leaving Wu Mansion, he returned to a restored princess mansion. Just after entering the mansion, he saw an elder Mu Chun. Prince Mukin. He just entered the mansion, and the other party was about to leave, so he ran into it. After seeing Jian Wushuang, Elder Mu Chun smiled and said quickly, "Wushuang, sage nephew, you can count us coming back. The holy meeting is coming, and I will set off for the Gumu sect in 3 months. It is best not to leave you in these days. Country. Only 3 months are left. It is indeed a bit hasty. Fortunately, his catalog of the starry sky has already created the secrets of the universe. There are only 2 secret treasures left. There is nothing to explore. Using time to speed up is too late. After exchanging a few words with Elder Mu Chun, he sent the opponent into Xianhu, looking at the opponent's disappearing sight. Jian Wushuang's eyes changed. There are also some doubts in my heart. When Wu Li met him, he also talked a lot about the monster. Elder Mu Chun didn't mention a word. This made him feel that the royal family must have known something and deliberately suppressed this matter. Thinking of this, he was going to ask the nominal wife, Jean Chen. Unfortunately, the other party is in retreat. When Elder Mu Chen came just now, I'm afraid he had a closed door. If he couldn't find out, he wasn't insisting. Randomly called a maid and asked him to take him back to the room. Now that the palace is rebuilt, he is really unfamiliar. After 7 turns and 8 turns, the maid took him to a secluded courtyard. Jian Wushuang was very satisfied with it. The layout of the courtyard was very suitable for him, so that he threw out tens of thousands of universe crystals, which one he would give to him. Maid, seeing so many cosmic crystals, the maid hurriedly bowed and thanked him. "Thank you, Lord Ma." "Okay, nothing is wrong with you. Let's go down." Jian Wushuang waved his hand, arranged the next barrier, and then entered the small courtyard. Entering the small courtyard room, he took out a cave treasure, a small cicada pupa, entered it, and the cicada pupa lay on the tabletop. As if there was no one in the room, it was calm. In the cave world, Jian Wushuang sat cross-legged on a green grass, with two treasures in front of him: Tower of Nine Tribulations, ancient temple pot. The former is related to Guantian chessboard, and he is most looking forward to it. The latter's role is not small, can play an extra hole card. Call. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath and took the lead in picking up the ancient temple pot. After playing with it in his hand, Nianli entered the ancient temple pot, and in just an hour, he became familiar with the usage of the treasure. The next step is to refine the ancient temple pot. This may take a long time. He must slow down the flow of time. It is 1,000,000 times slower than the normal flow rate outside. This is convenient to maintain. Can also practice wholeheartedly. After doing all this, he used the origin of the starry sky to refine the ancient temple pot. Although this ancient temple pot is only the treasure of the acquired universe, the pressure of refining is not small. Fortunately, his origin is strong enough. It took several years to successfully refine the ancient temple pot. The rest is to store divine power. If he wants to store the most powerful divine power, he has to raise the divine power to the strongest. The power of the beast god. Jian Wushuang put the jade pot on the ground and stood up. At the moment he got up, a pair of black armor spread out from the flesh and then made a crackling sound, instantly enveloping his whole body, and then disappeared on the flesh again. Only Jian Wushuang knew that Jiangjia entered the divine body in the flesh. At this moment, he also had enough confidence. 5 times. At this moment, the beast soldiers turned crazily, and the dark red divine power instantly wrapped his whole body. Divine power also jumped from 400,000 times to 600,000 times. 4 times the power of the beast can be increased to 600,000. Now 5 times the power of the beast god, at least 650,000 times the divine power. It has reached the standard of combat power for the Lord of the 5 Tribulations realm. The threshold for the powerhouses of the 5 Tribulations realm is 500,000, and the peak is 600,000. But the Lord of the universe in the 5 Tribulations realm would be much stronger at the peak. For example, which Empress Fengchen. Her supernatural power is probably more than 600,000. It even reached 800,000, because Jian Wushuang had seen the female emperor's angry eyes at the beginning. That sense of oppression was much stronger than the ordinary 6 tribulation, realms dispersal tribulation. This is why the other party has the confidence to compete for the position of the saint. After all, he was the arrogant of the same age as the Yunji Lord. The Lord Yunji is now the Lord of the 7 Tribulations realm universe. The female emperor is so competitive. How can her strength be poor? Even if he was the Lord of the universe in the 5 Tribulations realm, his combat power was not average, and it was far from comparable to the same level. The explosion of the Lord of the universe is far from being comparable to those of scattered calamities. Now, Jian Wushuang's combat power can beat most of the 5 Tribulations realm Senkaku, but the Lord of the 5 Tribulations realm universe is not very sure. But he got this ancient temple pot. It's really against the Lord of the 5 Tribulations realm universe. It's really hard to say who is the one who will kill him. Erupt with all strength, pour the divine power in the gods into the ancient temple pot. If it is an ordinary divine power practitioner, it may take a long time. But Jian Wushuang has the power of everything. The power of all things can not only be transformed into life, but also the essence of divine power. He has 650,000 supernatural powers and can inject up to 450,000 at a time. No matter how much, it will hurt the origin. After pouring divine power into the ancient temple pot, his divine body instantly felt emptiness. A force of nothingness made him almost fall. The eyes were dim and dim. Hastily used the power of all things to quickly replenish his divine power. Although the power of all things is almost infinite, it takes time for a stick of incense to fill the huge vacancy. This is already fast. If it is an ordinary divine power practitioner, even use the universe crystal and mixed element stone, these treasures that supplement divine power. It also takes a long time. After returning to the peak, he once again poured his divine power into the ancient temple pot. Chapter 57, 92, still 450,000 supernatural powers. Calculating, the 2 injections into the ancient temple pot should have 900,000 supernatural powers. Unfortunately, divine power is not calculated in this way. When the base divine power is 10,000, the treasures needed to upgrade to 100,000 divine power are not equal to the treasures needed to increase the 100,000 basic divine power to 200,000 divine powers. 450,000 supernatural power injections. In the current ancient temple pot, there are only 500,000 supernatural powers. It's just an increase of 50,000, not only because of the superposition of divine power. The bigger one is that although the ancient temple pot itself stores divine power after it can be injected into it, a lot of divine power is transformed into the origin of the ancient temple pot and used to maintain the power of the ancient temple pot. In this regard, Jian Wushuang was calm. If it's a big deal, inject it a few more times. It takes only a few days at most. The third time, it increased to 520,000. The fourth time, 530,000. Starting from the fifth time, it only increased by a few thousand each time. After 100 times, only dozens of supernatural powers were injected each time. Now, 700,000 supernatural powers are stored in the ancient temple pot. It is already very difficult to increase, but this is enough. With 700,000 divine powers, most of the 5 tribulations realm universe masters are very difficult to resist. Only the Emperor Fengtian's 5 tribulations realm was able to resist, and it was enough to deal with the general 5 tribulations realm cosmos master. This is not his only hole card. There is no need to pursue the limit too much. When his basic divine power increases again, he can still increase this upper limit. If it weren't for his origin, this ancient temple pot might have stored his ultimate divine power at most once in the hands of an ordinary divine power practitioner. When fighting the strong, if there is an extra limit attack, that winning rate can be doubled. Don't underestimate it. After carefully sealing the ancient temple pot, Jian Wushuang was in his body. If you encounter a crisis, you only need to summon the ancient temple pot to release the inner supernatural power and directly kill the opponent. Simple and rude. Jian Wushuang likes it very much. There are not so many requirements. This is the best. Like a beast weapon, although powerful, it has high demands on itself. As for the Guantian chessboard, this is even more true. He hasn't mastered it thoroughly yet. In the beginning, I was comprehending the chess pieces on the chessboard, and later mastered the origin of the chess pieces, and talked about swallowing all the internal origins. Let one's own source be better perfected, and also be able to break through quickly. This alone had greatly benefited Jian Wushuang at that time. After controlling the origin with ease, he began to refine the origin and revive the chess pieces. You can get a good helper. It's just that for now, the chess pieces he has recovered can no longer keep up with him. It is useless. After awakening Jiang Jia later, he re-emphasized the Guantian chessboard. General armor not only can guard his divine body without breaking, but it can also resist the attack of divine power, weakening 99% of it. This is the most heaven-defying treasure at the moment. However, he always felt that Guantian chess had not yet been developed to the extreme. There must be other uses. It's just that his strength is not enough, so there is no trigger. The Guantian chessboard now resonated with the Tower of Nine Tribulations, which made him think that he might be able to start from the Tower of Nine Tribulations and uncover the true effect of the chessboard of Guantian. At the same time, I have to see if the Nine Tribulations Pagoda has a conspiracy relationship with teacher Xian Yi. If there is a connection, he will make a lot of money. Dragging the small tower with one hand, Jian Wushuang couldn't feel its special. Begin to use the power of mind to explore the Tower of the Nine Tribulations. Jian Wushuang frowned and realized that things seemed different from what he expected. There was resonance, but after his thought power entered the pagoda of Nine Tribulations, he found that there was nothing inside the small pagoda, not even the source. Look at the material is a treasure above the eternal treasure, but there is no source inside, and there is no power. Not as good as the eternal treasure. It's very similar to those rumors. According to rumors, the ancient moon ruins often floated out of the treasure, but the strong who picked up the treasure could not use it at all. After falling into the hands of several people, it was finally identified as a decoration. So, at the beginning, many people were lucky enough to use this treasure to take a gamble. If the bet is right, it is a great treasure. At least it is the treasure of the innate universe, even stronger. However, in the ancient moon time, there was no record of the treasure of time and space. The high probability is weaker than the treasure of time and space. But this is also worth fighting for those strong, because back then, the Guyue sect leader had accidentally sneaked into the inner circle of the Guyue ruins and obtained an incredible treasure, all the way to the impact, becoming the Eight Tribulations realm complete. It's a pity that in the end it failed to cross the catastrophe, and even without leaving the physical power, he died and died. That era was short, but it was also extremely glorious. At that time, the Guyue sect leader had played in other time and space, overcoming the 9 masters of the universe who had completed the Eight Tribulations realm. They also beheaded 6 of them. In one fell swoop, Guyue time and space was brought to an unclimbable height. At the beginning, everyone thought that if those eternal existences did not exist, Guyue hierarch was invincible. Many people are also looking forward to the success of the Guyue leader and the 9th calamity. Unfortunately, in the end, it failed. The time is short. From growing up to the peak, Guyue leader only lived 100,000 epochs. This time is very short for some 7 tribulations realm. But it was the life of a legendary powerhouse. Jian Wushuang thought of Hui Qing. Hui Qing is in the ancient moon ruins. I don't know what's going on now. What was the reason for reminding him not to go? Danger? Everyone knows the danger of the ancient moon ruins. The inner circle couldn't be entered, and the master of the universe in the 7 tribulations realm and even the 8 tribulations realm had just wandered around the periphery. Just some dangers in the periphery can make the Lord of the 7 tribulations realm universe fall. But there are also many treasures. Danger and receipt are equal. There are still a lot of powerhouses who are going to explore. It has always been a legend that the legendary leader entered the inner circle of the ancient moon ruins when he was weak. Relying on strength, it seems impossible to enter at all. For this, Jian Wushuang was somewhat disdainful. If you can't get in by strength, it's your own rubbish. Supernatural power. You must have the confidence to break through all laws with one force. Fearless. The war is endless. At this point, he still admired the Broly. It's a pity that the other party cultivates and changes Tao. If he follows the line of divine power, I am afraid that he will not weaken Tao. Things are impermanent, just like him now. Faced with this treasure circulated from the ancient moon ruins, he was helpless. But the feeling of resonance has never disappeared. Jian Wushuang didn't believe in evil, and this time he released his origin to explore. But after one circle, he still couldn't enter the Tower of Nine Tribulations. At this time, he thought of it. Maybe he needs to take out the Guantian chessboard. Thinking of this, he didn't hesitate to take out the Guantian chessboard directly from the source. On a misty chessboard, there is a small tower floating in the upper part. Chapter 5793. After the two overlapped, Jian Wushuang used his mind to explore again. But when his thought power touched the Tower of Nine Tribulations, a violent breath shook him back directly. The divine bodies are beginning to fall apart. Cooked a lot of injury. Although injured, Jian Wushuang leaked a smile. The stronger the better. This also shows that his guess is true. This Nine Tribulations tower really has a certain connection with the Guantian chessboard, and the breath of the two is converging. The gathered breath continued to rise to the point that it floated in the sky of the cave world. A magnificent bridge appeared. Jian Wushuang looked up at the huge bridge, which was a shocking force. With his gaze jumping, Jian Wushuang was stunned when he looked behind the bridge. Vaguely, he saw a huge 9-story tower with perseverance behind the bridge. This time, I don't need to use mental strength to get in. You can enter directly by walking. After recovering from the injury, he began to walk carefully toward the Tower of Nine Tribulations. All these seemed to be false, and the faces of the Guantian chessboard and the Tower of Nine Tribulations have already overlapped. That atmosphere was created by the breath of these two treasures. But Jian Wushuang was willing to take a look. Step by step, he walked across the bridge and came to the bottom of the Tower of Nine Tribulations. I looked up and couldn't see the top of the tower. Towering into the sky. Sure enough, it's not ordinary. Its power is not weak. Guantian chessboard. Jian Wushuang exclaimed in his heart. In the time and space of Guyu, the treasure of time and space has never appeared. Could it be that the ornaments that have been circulated are the treasures of time and space? Jian Wushuang shook his head unconsciously. Really want to be so. At that time, the empty treasure will become Chinese cabbage. Here is the long river of time and space, not in the depths of the stars. If it is said that there are many time and space treasures in the starry sky, he believes. Since coming to Guyu time and space, he has understood. The so-called 9 great time and space is actually the upstream time and space. Because it is close to the stars, the overall strength is much stronger than the midstream and downstream. But on inheritance and treasure, not necessarily. The inheritance of Qi Temple is more suitable for him. Moreover, there is a treasure of time and space in Qishan Temple. Although it was the broken god, it was left over. But after all, unlike Guyu Shikong, none of them was born. Nine Tribulations Tower, it is the first one. Also let the outsider Jian Wushuang get it. Under the tower, a huge golden gate blocked Jian Wushuang's path. With one hand out of the palm, an aura burst out, directly blasting on the golden gate. The golden giant door also opened. Everything is going smooth. Smoothly made Jian Wushuang a little flustered, but bite the bullet and walked in. Inside the Nine Tribulations pagoda, there was a strange aura spreading out. Unconsciously, it's like going into it. Taking a step, Jian Wushuang felt an unprecedented ease at the moment he entered the tower, and even his mood improved. the kind of feeling that makes people completely relaxed. The combat power has been improved a bit. Clenching fists with both hands, a little breath exploded, all feeling different. I moved my body at will and became more flexible. At this time, he began to observe the surroundings. Inside the tower, it was unusually empty. The color is monotonous. In the center, there is this white beam of light. When I walked in, I found that it was natural light coming from Shangfen. There is nothing special. At present, it seems that the environment of the Tower of Nine Tribulations is somewhat special. There is no other use. But he was not in a hurry. It was the same when I got the Guantian chessboard. The stronger the treasure, the more difficult it is to figure out. He just thought so, but was slapped in the face by reality. In the white beam of light, a figure suddenly appeared, frightening Jian Wushuang. Seeing the figure, he quickly backed away. His right hand reacted quickly, and he directly held the hilt behind the sword, responding to the figure in the beam of light at any time. "Welcome to the Tower of Nine Tribulations." A stiff voice came from the silhouette of the light beam. More and more real figures. Also let Jian Wushuang see the other side's appearance clearly, wearing a very fancy mask, white temples, and special clothes, dressed like never seen before. The pagoda of Nine Tribulations comes from the ancient moon ruins, and it may be the earliest practitioner of the ancient moon time and space. "It's normal if I haven't seen it before," Jian Wushuang comforted himself. The stiff voice made him feel more like a puppet, so he didn't speak politely and asked loudly, "Your Excellency, is it the spirit of the instrument or the cultivator who is sealed in the tower?" "Neither." The strangely dressed mask man shook his head. Jian Wushuang's eyes changed slightly, and he felt that the person in front of him was really a living person. But speaking, he was very stiff, just like a puppet. "Then why are you here?" "Nothing. It's still in the pagoda of Nine Tribulations." Could it be that the true master of the Tower of Nine Tribulations? It's really possible. When the masked man heard it, the corners of his mouth curled up, and he slowly walked out of the beam of light and said calmly, "I'm just waiting for someone here." "The person you are talking about, isn't it me?" Jian Wushuang was a little less confident when he said this, because the Tower of Nine Tribulations and the Guantian chessboard resonated. He felt that it was a treasure left to him by teacher Xian Yi. Now, it seems that it is not very similar. It may also be the Guantian chessboard. When encountering a treasure of the same level, there will be resonance. It is because he wants to be crooked. In any case, he earned the pagoda of Nine Tribulations. "It's you, but it's not you." "The masked man is like a riddler said in the mist," Jian Wushuang directly said. "Can you just speak directly? Wait for someone to beat me." The masked man replied lightly, causing Jian Wushuang to almost laugh. The reason why he can talk to each other so easily, it's because he can see the opponent's strength, which doesn't seem very good. Although I don't know whether it is a person or a ghost, it has a smell of supernatural power. It's just that this supernatural power is very weak. Only about 200,000. If he blows the air, he can kill the opponent. Then you are waiting for the person you are waiting for today. Jian Wushuang slammed, shot out in an instant, punched out, and hit the masked man's door directly. This punch, the explosive power, at least 400,000. It is equal to his basic supernatural power. Solve a masked man with 200,000 supernatural powers. That's too simple. Boom. A huge burst of fists broke through the eardrum, thinking that the opponent can be easily solved, but found that the masked person has long since disappeared. Jian Wushuang was stunned as soon as his thought power moved. The other party was actually behind him and still turned his back to him. Behind his hands, it was very relaxed. That divine power was still 200,000, without any change. How is this possible? Jian Wushuang said in surprise. Your divine power is very weak. How can you avoid my attack? His punch just now was not only an explosion of divine power, but also an explosion of speed. Even the Lord of the Universe can't escape a punch. The other party actually avoided. Really, it's not that simple. Originally, he thought that the Tower of 9 Tribulations should be the same as most treasures, divided into 9 layers. Each layer has a guardian, and you can obtain treasures by defeating one. He sees most of this kind of roads. Chapter 5794. Unfortunately this time, he guessed wrong. The 9-story tower of the 9 tribulations is good. However, the strength of the guardian in this tower is a bit hard to understand. If relying on strength to avoid his attack, he still has some clues. The other party is like a ghost. Go back and attack again. A series of attacks could not hit the opponent at all. Be careful. The masked man's voice suddenly became severe, and when Jian Wushuang attacked, he avoided again. This time he not only avoided the attack, but also hit Jian Wushuang's head with his backhand and knocked hard. Jian Wushuang's eyes went black, and he almost fainted. He was not injured. Neither his origin nor his divine power had changed, but the moment he had just had an indescribable pain, just like an adult hitting a child. Jian Wushuang held the back of his head, turned his head to look at the masked man who had hidden far away, and was completely angry. What a shame! What? Clenching fists with both hands, the red breath erupted from the body. What? The power of the beast broke out directly, with twice the power of the beast god. The divine power also came to 500,000. At this moment, he began to take it seriously. He didn't do it directly, but even crossed his arms, and figures began to appear behind him. Origin clone. The breath of each clone is the same, but the combat power is different. It's just that the combat power is different. Others can't see it. He didn't believe that the other party could break this. Just fight here. There will always be a clone to meet each other, although the combat power of the clone is much worse. But the opponent with a mask of 200,000 supernatural powers is still very relaxed. Thanks, Tusk. You better not be touched by me. Jian Wushuang sneered. Several figures began to flicker. It was left by the afterimage, and the real body had already arrived in front of the opponent. 74 clones immediately surrounded the masked man, surround the opponent, and shoot together. But Jian Wushuang's deity stared at the opponent. He wanted to see how the other party avoided it, then take the opportunity to sneak over, avoid the 74 clones, but also pay attention to his deity. Can't avoid it at all. The space here is very small. There is not enough room for Shinfa to display. But the next moment, he was dumbfounded. The clone is perfect, almost every shot, but the masked man quickly dodges with an incomprehensible body technique. Of all the clones, none of them can touch each other. And when he was watching from a distance, he had the illusion of shrinking into an inch. This place seems to have become wider. His crowded tactics are no longer feasible. Only the deity can sneak attack. 500,000 divine power. This is the threshold of the 5 tribulations realm, coupled with a sneak attack and siege. He didn't believe it. Gather the chi with both hands, condense into a group, throw it directly, and use the burst of breath to cover his own deity, quickly approaching the opponent's back, and a hand knife stabbed out. It was clearly hit, but Jian Wushuang couldn't laugh. Huh! The back shot in front of him shrank for a moment and then disappeared. That is the afterimage left by Shinfa. Even if his eyes are bad, his hands can feel it hitting the air. Yes, I was able to keep up with my afterimage so soon, but You still have your whole cards. Let's use it together. The masked man yawned with his hands behind his back. After Jian Wushuang heard it, he became even more angry, especially when you see the yawn. Obviously look down on him. When has he been so angry? And the opponent's strength is obviously much weaker than him. There is a kind, don't hide. Jian Wushuang was obviously a little lost. He had just said it and regretted it. The masked man came to him again, and in an incredible way, Jian Wushuang blasted a punch and hit the air. Before he could attack again, he felt a twisted sensation in his abdomen, which made the whole person convulse. The masked man really made a move this time. Not only did he shoot, but he also hit him, by the way. Dodging his punch, the other party returned a punch and hit Jian Wushuang in the abdomen. Cold sweat appeared on the painful Jian Wushuang's forehead. Outrageous. But he didn't believe it. The power of 500,000 is not enough. That's 600,000. He hasn't lost the same level, and the key opponent's strength is not at the same level as him. How can I lose to the other side? A thing that a person is not a ghost or a ghost. 4 times the power of the beast god, directly increased by 200,000 divine power. The power of the whole body reached 600,000. It can be regarded as a small pinnacle of him. Shot again, but was still avoided. But this time, he didn't use the clone or sneak attack, so he hit the opponent's afterimage. The masked people are also somewhat different, exclaiming, "You still hide your strength, so what else can you use earlier? You don't have much time." Time is running out. Jian Wushuang frowned. He doesn't want to do a senseless offense anymore. The power of the beast also disappeared instantly. The other party said that the time is almost up. What does it mean? It's impossible if you can't beat the opponent. You will have to kill him. Yes, I will only give you half an hour. If you don't beat me, you will have to wait a year before you come again. The time here is calculated according to the normal flow rate. You show the flow rate of time is useless. The masked man did not forget to explain the flow rate of time. Jian Wushuang breathed a sigh of relief. Chance to challenge once a year. In just 1 year, how can he improve? Even in the outside world, he can accelerate time, but he cannot improve much. Besides, a year later, it is already a holy meeting. He didn't have time to come back to the Tower of 9 Tribulations. The opponent is so weird, especially the opponent's dodge. If you can learn it, then invincible. When the time comes, the Lord of the universe in the 6 tribulations realm will not be afraid. I don't know what benefits will be gained by defeating the opponent. Of course, the best thing is to teach him this trick. He took the opportunity to ask, "You haven't said what is the advantage of defeating you. Otherwise, I will be in vain." You are right. Defeating me is really a waste of work. As for the good, it is the achievement you made at the moment you defeated me. His face calmly replied. Jian Wushuang almost vomited blood. What is the achievement at the moment of defeating him? Is it possible that the opponent is the best in time and space? Defeating him, he will be invincible? It is ridiculous. If you don't believe me, you can try it. The masked man was very confident in himself. Jian Wushuang said coldly, "Try it, try it." After speaking, the breath on his body suddenly turned blue. Eternal change. The blue Jian Wushuang's combat power may not be as strong as the 600,000 divine power because he is still an emperor. His origin has not changed much, and his promotion is not as exaggerated as his divine power. When he reaches the Lord of the universe, he will still have the strongest origin. But there is a certain kind of self-confidence that makes him feel that the blue self is more confident. The key is that he can use the eternal thickening which can increase the sword so that he can use the Starry Sky catalog. He didn't believe that the other party could avoid his star catalog. Chapter 57, 95. The sword of life cannot be avoided, unless the other party is not a life. However, this is really possible. He doesn't look like a person at first glance. The power of the starry sky. The masked man commented, "This is a bit interesting." Jian Wushuang opened his mouth in surprise and said blankly, "You even know the power of the stars?" The power of the starry sky. Too little is known in the long river of time and space. What he had seen was also Nie Yuan, who had used the power of the stars. This is the power that belongs to the starry sky. The other party even knows this. If you think about it, it's actually nothing. The Tower of Nine Tribulations is the same as the chessboard of Guantian, probably all spread from the stars. Knowing the power of the starry sky is also normal. You don't think that you are the only one who has the power of the starry sky. The masked man said, his body shape changed, and his breath turned blue, and the arc is also flashing. At this moment, Jian Wushuang was not only shocked, but also felt the origin of the other party. Time is mixed in that equity source. Hurry up, you only have a stick of incense left. Jian Wushuang was not talking nonsense either, holding the hilt in his right hand, and directly drew out the sword of 10,000 tribulations. Starry Sky Catalog. The first sword. As soon as the voice fell, a green breath burst into the monotonous hall. Life. He knew the moment. He felt the origin of the other party. One sword. Life fall. That is death. Looks like a sword cut out. It's a double sword slippery cut. Life goes with death. At this moment, he really felt it. The feeling of the blade passing through the opponent's body. Song. Take the sword. All in one go. Slowly turned around, looked at the other person's gray figure, and said, "You lost." "What sword technique did you use just now?" The masked man's stiff voice came. Jian Wushuang said calmly, "Starry sky swordsmanship." "You're lying." The masked man shook his head. He didn't think it was a starry sky swordsmanship. He originally came from the stars. How could he have never seen this kind of swordsmanship? It broke his freedom. "I have no reason to lie to you. This is the starry sky sword that I created. Perhaps it is not called the starry sky, but it is the starry sky I painted." Jian Wu had no expression on both sides. At the moment of victory, he didn't have much joy because he seemed to really get a sense of comfort. This mood is very special. He is too late to taste. Disappeared. Maybe the body of the masked man recovered again. When looking at Jian Wushuang, there was a strange color in his eyes. "You are the first practitioner who defeated me for the first time against me. No wonder you were chosen." The masked man recognized Jian Wushuang's strength very much. Not only strength, but more importantly, Jian Wushuang's swordsmanship made him admire him with admiration. Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows and said, "Is there anyone else who came to the Nine Tribulations Pagoda before?" "It's too much. Not long ago, a celestial lady from your time and space came here, but she defeated my first-tier clone after tens of thousands of times." Jian Wushuang was startled when he heard it. It's not that it's too bad. Instead, he was stunned when he heard the word triumph. Not long ago. The other party's concept of time is too exaggerated. There have been hundreds of millions of epochs since the fall of the goddess. Tens of thousands of times. In other words, there are more than thousands of Eight Tribulation realm universe masters born and fallen. What a long time this is. In the opponent's mouth, it was not long ago. Could the goddess have not fallen yet? This is also a possibility. When he entered this place, he was intercepted by a goddess. It was Hui Qing who blocked the opponent, and Hui Qing also fell into the ancient moon ruins. That's where the goddess fell. This has always been a mystery. Now, there is a chance to ask the other party about the goddess, but the other party's answer made him dumbfounded. The goddess has indeed fallen, but her spirit is still in this world. It is beyond reincarnation. Beyond reincarnation. That also represents eternity. How could it fall after the eternal existence? Jian Wushuang slurped his head and became increasingly confused. When he wants to ask each other, the masked man took off his mask. A delicate face appeared before his eyes. Difficult to distinguish between male and female. His face is pale. He has white hair on top of his head with a high crown. Behind him, there is this huge ring much wider than his body. From now on, you can call me Weiss. As soon as the voice fell, a scepter fell into Li Si's hands. The original source and divine aura of the opponent's body had disappeared. Jian Wushuang looked at each other now, as if he was looking at the air. If it weren't for having a pair of eyes, you wouldn't be able to feel the other person's existence by just thinking. When he faced the Lord of the Seven Tribulations realm universe, the other party did not deliberately hide, and he would feel a breath like the sun. But facing Li Si, Jian Wushuang didn't notice anything. This is very strange. Either the other party deliberately suppressed his breath, or his strength surpassed him too much. Weiss, Jian Wushuang said silently, and then asked, "Now you can talk about the usefulness of this pagoda of 9 tribulations." Li Si covered his mouth and smiled, and said, "Of course I can tell. I will be your master in the future, and you can tell you everything you want to know, master." Jian Wushuang was surprised. "You want to be my master?" Unexpectedly, refining a treasure, there is such a strange thing. Also apprentice, but what he cares most is the pagoda of 9 tribulations, whether it has anything to do with teacher Xuani, can resonate with the Guantian chessboard, because it is the reason of the treasure of time and space, or because of the teacher Xuani. Now, the other party jumped out and asked him to apprentice. Jian Wushuang, who made him, was a little at a loss. But when he thinks that even a goddess has rushed tens of thousands of times to pass, he can pass it once, and a sense of satisfaction arises spontaneously. It seems that apprenticeship does not suffer. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath and was about to kneel down to apprentice, but was stopped by Weiss. "You don't need to salute like this. In my world, the master-disciple relationship is just a tool." Weiss' words were very straightforward, making Jian Wushuang not know how to answer for a while. Upon seeing this, Weiss continued and said, "You will understand later, there is also this small tower. It is not called 9. Halfway through the conversation, Weiss seemed to have thought of something and finally shook his head and said calmly, "You call it the Tower of 9 Tribulations. You said that the goddess also rushed through. Why did he fall and you are still alive?" Jian Wushuang looked at the other party so straightforwardly, but he was not restrained. After hearing this, Weiss looked stunned, then tapped Jian Wushuang's head with his scepter and said dissatisfied, "I am a god. How can I die?" "Huh?" She covered her mouth and smiled after she said it. According to common sense, the goddess should also be his disciple. No wonder it is just a tool. Chapter 5796. The disciple died, and he was still laughing. "Are you a god? Does eternal existence?" Jian Wushuang continued to ask. He never understood the concept of God. In the ordinary times, there are gods, but when you really reach that level, it's not a big deal to find gods. It can also be killed. At this time, I heard people claiming to be gods again. He really didn't understand. Wes covered his mouth and coughed twice, and said, "You mean the 3 from upstream time and space?" Eternal existence. It's actually a name for Jian Wushuang. For the 3 true pinnacle powerhouses, there is no complete name. It has anything called it. Yes, that's the 3 superpowers. Their strength should be the same as the original goddess. Jian Wushuang said excitedly. If so, Neva's strength would be hard to guess. can teach a character like a goddess. You are wrong. The three you mentioned are also in the tribulation realm, and the goddess are also the same. These people have not yet escaped the shackles and are not gods, and I am the true of the entire time and space. Weiss finished speaking. His eyes looked they are all a bit sharp. Jian Wushuang couldn't help taking a step backwards. The breath of an instant reminded him of the eye he saw from the starry sky. Too strong. It makes people unable to breathe. He understood the concept of God now. Weiss said that only he is a god, and the rest are still in the tribulation state. The probability of the original goddess is also the nine tribulations realm. Above the nine tribulations realm, there is a stronger existence. It's just that there is nothing in the long river of time and space. Since you are the only god, why are you in this small tower? Jian Wushuang said in doubt. The opponent is so strong. Why are they still trapped in the small tower? And also accept apprentices as tools. This doesn't make sense. The Tower of Nine Tribulations, it's not as simple as you think. I am entrusted by others here, and I can't tell you this. Weiss' answer made Jian Wushuang think of teacher Xuani. Then he asked, is it an old man named Xian Yi, entrusted by others? Weiss just shook his head without answering. Jian Wushuang was a little speechless. The other party who is guilty is God. Don't know anything, but it seems that it has nothing to do with teacher Xian Yi. But how should the resonance from the Guantian chessboard be explained? According to Weiss, the Guantian chessboard does not belong to time and space, but a treasure in the starry sky. The Tower of Nine Tribulations is also a treasure in the starry sky. The two are not of the same level, but come from the same place. That's why there was some resonance, and finally opened the pagoda of Nine Tribulations. Jian Wushuang was not very satisfied with this explanation. He is not interested in Weiss. To be precise, Weiss' tone was too loud. The strong road, he wants to go. But I have not forgotten my original intention, walking in time and space, looking for teacher Xuani, but also to find his own way, rather than being guided by God. Seeing Jian Wushuang's silence, Weiss talked about the pagoda of Nine Tribulations. Jian Wushuang, you will be my disciple from now on, but you can't reveal my identity, and I won't care about your life or death, but I will teach you the most powerful secret method in time and space, and you will reward me. Become the strongest in this time and space. Weiss said his purpose. Jian Wushuang was not surprised when he heard it. Become the strongest in this time and space. This can't be said that the other party's tone is loud, but that he has just witnessed the strength of the other party. To be honest, I am not interested. Jian Wushuang shook his head. He has now created a catalog of the starry sky, and when he is the Lord of the universe, he will be able to create even more powerful super-eternal changes. There is no shortage of powerful secrets at all. He always doubted the identity of the other party. I don't want to forge cause and effect with people anymore. You have to pay it back when you come out. The first person in time and space. How easy it is. If the opponent is just a true spirit, he may be tempted because he cannot be restrained. But the other party is he can't see through. How to cooperate? Not sure. Weiss seemed to see through Jian Wushuang. The scepter tapped the ground lightly, and the surrounding scenes instantly changed. Jian Wushuang, how much do you know about time and space? How much do you know about the stars? Weiss said, raising his hand to evoke an arc. That is Jian Wushuang's lifeline. At the same time, it is also the timeline of Jian Wushuang. You came from the mundane and traveled through many material realms. Then you entered a strange universe. Let me see what you have experienced. The timeline that even the true spirit of Qi Temple could not see was extremely simple in the eyes of Weiss. Jian Wushuang was also taken aback. I looked up and saw my life from weak to strong. Weiss looked at Jian Wushuang about divine power universe, nodded, and said, "No wonder your strength is so strong. It's kind of interesting. It seems that your spiritual path has been changed by someone. He should not touch this time and space. It's a pity that I can't find him. Otherwise he will be punished. Change the time." Jian Wushuang was taken aback. Then I thought of my future self. The future self has failed in harmony. He originally thought that he had succeeded in harmony with his strength now, but he did not expect that someone had changed his timeline. And that person is not at this time. It's not Teacher Xuani. He already had the answer in his heart, calm, but he couldn't believe it. And the words of Weiss. He dared to speak out the punishment. That shows that you are in the same realm with Teacher Xuani. Sky. Weiss smiled and stared at Jian Wushuang and said, "Don't be surprised. Time and space are transmitted from the starry sky. There is nothing impossible. Your timeline is now in my hands, and no one can change it anymore." Who is the one who changed it? Why doesn't this time exist? Jian Wushuang seized the opportunity to ask what the secret was in his body. He is nothing in the present time and space. He doesn't exist at all. Perhaps, as he said, he will see you in the future. See you in the future. When is the future? Jian Wushuang was silent. There is a sorrow in my heart. Now his goal is to kill the life, and his future goal is to find Teacher Xuani. What about after that? In the future, he may be lonely, lost the meaning of practice. Imde priest. Wes stepped forward, patted Jian Wushuang's shoulder lightly, and said, "You don't have to be sad. The road to the future is very long, and the world you see is actually outlined, so you don't have to be nostalgic. No, it is a world of flesh and blood. You high gods don't understand it all." Jian Wushuang shook his head. From the mundane to the present, he feels too much. Even if the Taoist heart is perfect, it will retain a trace of respect for the secular. God, I don't understand, because God does not come from a weaker age. When the other party spoke, Jian Wushuang guessed it. Tower of 9 tribulations. It seems that I have to add another sum to myself. Being strong is not the goal. The purpose is to pursue a powerful process that is the meaning of existence. Chapter 57:97. The loud horn sounded. On this day, the strong from all sides of Vietnam gathered in the royal capital. Holy meeting. Advent. The female emperor personally led the team, and the entire Yu country, including all forces, was divided into 2 factions. One faction is the royal family powerhouse, naturally the person of the empress. For example, Jian Wushuang and Wu Li, as well as the one whom Wu Li wooed. There are also some strong men of the Yu royal family. The other faction is the people of the 7-star sect. Elder Mu Chun is also included. The 7-star sect is actually a subsidiary sect of the 8-star sect, although it is from the Gumu faction on the bright side. But the sacred meeting will still help the strong in the country, but it is vying for a good ranking. If it is normal, I am afraid there will be nothing. But this time the holy meeting, the female emperor is determined. The strong people who can see this holy meeting are all super beings of the same level. For strong emperors, 2 royal families, naturally Jian Wushuang and his wife. The other 2 are from Qinjianmen, Lord of the Universe, 24. The Lord of the Universe in the 5 tribulations realm is the only female emperor who needs all-out assistance this time. There are 4 masters of the universe in the 4 tribulation realm, 2 royal families, 1 King Yanzong, and the patriarch of the 2nd family of the Yu Kingdom, the Li Patriarch, also went out in person. The remaining masters of the universe are all the pinnacles of the 3 tribulations realm. powerhouses from major families and two major forces. Today is their day of departure. Jian Wushuang also happened to have left the Tower of Nine Tribulations today, outside the imperial palace, as a cold voice sounded. All the powerhouses boarded the battle boats that had already been prepared. Set off. The strong men who participated in the sacred congregation boarded a war boat alone. On both sides of the warship, there are two larger warships. The riders in Shangfen were all family elders and Tianzhao among the emperors. When the congregation opens, the strong people who participate in the congregation often don't have as many strong people watching it. Just like this time, there are tens of thousands of strong people watching the holy meeting. However, there are only dozens of strong men from Vietnam participating in the holy meeting. After boarding the war boat, Jian Wushuang, Elder Mu Chun, and Wu Li sat in front of a case. The three chatted. Princess Jean Chun, rarely quiet, sat silently. Jian Wushuang knew what she was thinking. It's nothing more than thinking of Shurjiu. This time, it was a chance for the two to meet. Jian Wushuang is not interested in this at all. Leaving Vietnam today, he might not come back. When the time comes, he and Wu Li will have to run away. Before Wu Li left, the core members of the family had been arranged. Jian Wushuang had nothing to worry about, just thinking about where he would go in the future. At the same time, he was also reminiscing about the things in the pagoda of Nine Tribulations. After Apprentice Weiss, he successfully entered the pagoda of Nine Tribulations for the second time. Began to challenge the second clone of Weiss. It is a pity that it is not an opponent at all. There is too much gap, and it can only stay in the first level of practice. There is nothing special about practicing in the pagoda of Nine Tribulations. Mainly when practicing the secret method that Weiss taught him, the practice is very smooth. Only in the pagoda of Nine Tribulations can we practice the secret method that Weiss teaches him. And it's the deity who goes to practice. Freedom to work hard. Jian Wushuang recalled the free limit that Weiss had displayed and sighed in his heart for its power. It is extremely difficult to practice. Just getting started. He can't do it now. This is an extremely long span. According to Weiss calculations, he needs to go to the Lord of the Universe to get started. Fortunately, strong enough, he waited. As long as you get started, you have the hope of breaking through the second floor of the pagoda of Nine Tribulations. Although it was very difficult to cultivate, it was powerful enough to make Jian Wushuang pay for it. Once he gets started, his combat power will soar rapidly. It's just that I can't help him now. It takes time to temper. On the way to the Gumu sect, Jian Wushuang did not practice either. He has reached the limit of Emperor in all aspects now. The original starry sky has lit up tens of thousands of black holes. It's just a matter of condensing into a physical universe. He also asked Weiss about the original universe. According to what the other party said, 10,000 black holes are already complete. There is no pressure at all to become the master of the universe. Just wanting to cross the threshold of the robbery still has to make a lot of effort. Only by becoming a catastrophe can you control the universe. What Jian Wushuang lacks now is the opportunity of the robbery realm. The holy meeting is also coming. His time is running out. In silence, Wu Li's eyes changed, and the sound transmission said, "Jian Wushuang, do you have something on your mind?" He was stunned for a moment, and then looked at Wu Ligong about to speak, only to realize that it was the sound transmission just now. "Nothing. The sacred meeting is about to begin. What can be on your mind?" Jian Wushuang answered through voice transmission. "Mindful. Too much. It's just that this is not the time to think about this. He can no longer think about the ones that are not. Face the reality. There will be many 5 tribulations realm universe masters in this sacred meeting, all of whom are much stronger than Jian Wushuang. Still have to make good preparations. The details of Wu Li's plan have not yet been informed to him, and all these need to be negotiated. It's just that this place is not a place to talk about things. The two of them could only press and leave it alone, and smiled with Elder Mu Chen about the holy meeting. The purpose of this holy meeting report is very clear. Just for the saint candidate, all they have to do is to assist the Empress Fengchen to become a candidate for the saint. As long as you become a candidate, the rest will leave their business alone. At that time, it was also the time for Jian Wushuang and Wu Li to implement their plans. The saint of the ancient wood school that needs to resonate with Wanlu Shenmu. No one can help the Empress at this point. The 16 kingdoms, as well as the forces in some secret realms on the ancient wood continent, the masters of the Five Tribulations realm universe, there are at least several hundred. Only less than 100 are able to compete for the position of the saint. Among these 100 people, there are only a handful of consummation masters of the Five Tribulations realm. There are only 4 candidates. For candidates, fight for the position of the saint. This is the final battle. It has nothing to do with Jian Wushuang and the others. But taking this opportunity to sneak into the willows secretly, the relationship will be great. Not only will this congregation fail this time, it will also offend all parties. These are still trivial matters. I really went in, and when I came out, the things I had to face were terrible. The siege of countless strong men is not only as simple as robbing treasures. They will also investigate how they entered Wanlu. Okanshu, come, this is the most important. Wu Li said, you can enter if you have the power of life. He didn't believe it at the time, and now it seems that he is indeed unreliable. Certainly a unique method is needed. He didn't know this, but Wu Li knew it. It's just that he is not easy to inquire. He could also see that Wu Li was not that simple. Fortunately, during this period of time, his combat power has improved by leaps and bounds, and Wu Li is definitely not his opponent even in the half-step 4 Tribulations realm. Not afraid of what the other party will do. I was afraid that the other party would use him and finally entered Wanlu by himself. This is what he has to worry about. Chapter 5798. Just as a few people were chatting, Empress Fengchen came to the hall of Zhanzhou. Everyone silenced and turned to look at the Empress. The Empress Fengchen glanced at the crowd, took her seat at the top, gently pressed her hand, and said calmly, "You don't have to be restrained. This king has just received the evaluation criteria of this holy meeting. You can take it and watch it. Prepare in my heart. Half an hour later, we will discuss the tactics of this holy meeting." Jian Wushuang's eyes lit up, and several light beams flew towards the hands of the powerful. A scroll is wrapped in the beam. After unfolding, there are not only texts on the top, but also a demonstration of human shadows. Jian Wushuang, who looked at him, frowned. Ancient wood church. Assess the world, infinite world, a big world southwest of Wanlu. The interior is extremely wide, much larger than the stone country. The new chapter of the Moon-Old Girl Friend of Hades evaluation criteria. The first 4 teams reach the finish line. It is victory. So simple. Jian Wushuang blurted out. As soon as this remark came out, many people who heard it rolled their eyes. Elder Mu Chen came out at this time and explained, "Wushuang, you can't look at the surface in everything. You may not have heard of this infinite world. There are even the beasts of the 7 Tribulations realm inside. And since the Gumu sect has set this rule, I'm afraid there will be many dangers along the way. Don't be careless." But what's the point of doing this? This sentence was a monologue in Jian Wushuang's heart. Did not say it. Wu Li saw it and added, "The danger along the way is just one point. It's more chance. Moreover, According to the character of the Guma school, not all the rules are shown to us this time. There must be other things. The rules need to be informed after we arrive. Otherwise, if we know in advance, someone may prepare in advance. This remark made Jian Wushuang some recognition. Spanning the entire infinite world, the important thing is the process. It certainly won't be that simple. Jian Wushuang also started to look forward to it. Emperor, Lord of the Universe. Although the road is the same, the encounter is different. That's why there are places for emperors. Jian Wushuang had known this for a long time. Otherwise, let the emperor go, it is to die. The 3 great war boats lined up side by side, and soon left the territory of Vietnam. The female emperor was also at this time beginning to explain the Gumu school. Everyone listened carefully. Before entering the infinite world, we will be divided into 5 teams. After entering, we must gather at the 7th starting point as quickly as possible. Otherwise, we will lose to other forces at the starting point. In order to cooperate with each other, you will divide the team by yourself. No pop-up window in mainland. As soon as the female emperor's voice fell, everyone began to look at each other. On Jian Wushuang's side, the team has taken shape. Headed by Elder Mu Chen, Wu Li, Jiuhu, Jian Wushuang, and Jin Chen, 2 emperors, 3.5 step for tribulation, realm of the universe masters. Except for Jiuhu, the others are familiar with Jian Wushuang, which 9 tigers was a half-step for tribulation realm powerhouse that Wu Li wooed, and his strength was not weak. The rest will solve it by themselves. The female emperor is naturally the lord of the 4 tribulations realm universe with the 2 royal clans. The rest was divided into 5 teams. Elder Mu Chun led 1. The Li family leads 1. A young prince from the Vietnamese royal family leads 1. Jin's latest chapter's Qin Jianmen leads a team. The last is a team united by small families. The superficial tactics are just superficial division of labor. The real tactics may not be known until they enter the infinite world. They don't know much about the infinite world, but the Empress must know more. Jian Wushuang also learned a lot about the infinite world from other populations. Start and end, according to what Jian Wushuang knew. At first, they would be transported to the periphery of the infinite world at will, and they would need to set off on their own to the starting point of Hueha, and finally set off together. Then it's the end. Reaching the end means reaching the end of the infinite world. I'm really not a foodie. The latest chapter, it was already very close to Wanlu Shenmu. Only the top 4 teams are eligible to go to the periphery of Wanlu Shenmu. In other words, Jian Wushuang and Wu Li must help the female emperor win the top 4 position. Wu Li also glanced at Jian Wushuang at this time and nodded secretly. But there was a sneer in his heart. It was not Wu Li's voice, but a voice that existed in Wu Li's body for a long time. That was the chance existence of Wu Li becoming the Lord of the Universe. When that voice sounded, Wu Li's expression remained unchanged, but from the bottom of his heart he said, "Teacher, is the end of the infinite world still far away from Wanlu?" "It's not far away. Even if your female emperor of Yu Kingdom can't become the top 4, I can take you to the periphery of Wanlu." Mysterious voice sounded in Wu Li's heart, the latest chapter of the time against the current Wu Li frowned, and then said, "Then this Jian Wushuang naturally kill chickens to get eggs." The war boat was faltering, and within a month, the 16 kingdoms came out of the grass. Further forward, there is boundless chaos. That is an unexplored world. The Guma school is among them. Before the distant age of the goddess, the entire ancient Wood continent is chaotic. It was Shenmu King who led the strong and opened up the ancient Wood sect Holy Land. Eventually evolved the 16 kingdoms of grass. And the major secrets. At this time, the 16 kingdoms, as well as the teams from the major secret realms, came one after another. The immortal legend has no pop-up window. There is a momentum of 1,000 immortals coming to the dynasty. Shurgwa's team is the largest. 100 masters of the universe have come. There are 3 masters of the universe in the 5 tribulations realm. There is also a daughter country. Although the Lord Yunji became the 7 tribulations realm, the daughter country would not be so arrogant that he would not participate in the holy meeting. There were also 2 5 tribulations realm universe masters coming. In the major eras, the daughter country has taken the position of the saint several times. This time I also have great confidence. Since Jian Wushuang had been to the daughter country, he had some understanding of the powerhouses in the daughter country. As far as he knows, this time the daughter country dispatched Gemini, 2 masters of the universe in the half-step 6 tribulations realm. The strength is only slightly weaker than Fengchen. It is the hot spot of this holy meeting. The 16 kingdoms, the eternal kingdom has been destroyed. Only 15 countries remain. Your country can't even enter the top 10. But it doesn't mean that the masters of the non-trivial universe of all forces are stronger than the female emperor. On the contrary, the strength of the Empress Fengchen can be ranked in the top 5 among the 16 countries. In this sacred assembly, among the hundreds of 5 tribulation realm cosmos masters, all can rank in the top 10. The specific number can be ranked. This needs to be verified in battle. Jian Wushuang was also evaluating his position. He doesn't care about the position of the saint, but he must help the Empress win the top 4. This is the bottom line. With his current combat power, he can indeed control the general battle situation. But if you have to deal with the masters of the universe in the half-step 6 tribulations realm, there is not much confidence. The strongest trump card, Star Catalog, he can master the 2 swords of life and death. It was already comparable to the Lord of the 5 tribulations realm universe. However, the Lord of the universe in the 5 tribulations realm has strengths and weaknesses. Chapter 5799. The powerful can burst out 800,000 supernatural powers. The weak can also explode 600,000 supernatural powers. It's all his extreme combat power. Fortunately, he was just an emperor on the surface, and no one would care about him by then. Once you make a move, you must take advantage of it and attack the vitals. On the deck of the war boat, the well-divided teams are all gathered together. Watch the scene in the chaotic airflow. The thunder flashes one after another, and the world seems to be gestating something. This is the wonder of everything. Jian Wushuang is quite familiar with this. The rest are in awe in their hearts. There are still 3 days away from the Guma school. I still have something to prepare for my practice, so I want chat with you. Juhu finished speaking, clasped his fists, and left. Jian Wushuang looked at the other side's back, to a place where there was no doubt. Brother Wu Li, the strength of this person is not easy. Elder Mu Qin narrowed his eyes slightly. He could see that the strong man named 9 Tigers possessed extremely strong divine power in his body. Once it breaks out, I am afraid it can rise to 400,000 supernatural powers. This is the pinnacle of the Lord of the 3 tribulations realm universe. No matter how high it is the strongest of the 4 tribulations realm. Wu Li said calmly, the strength of Brother 9 Tigers is indeed good. I once intercepted and killed a secret realm Tianjiao with him outside the territory, and that Tianjiao was still the Lord of the 4 tribulations realm universe. No wonder. Mu Qin nodded. Jian Wushuang's face was dark, and things like intercepting Tianjiao could all be said, and looking at Mu Chen's expression, there was no surprise. I'm afraid these 2 people did not do anything less. Of course, they all regard Jian Wushuang as their own, so there is nothing to hide. Unparalleled nephew, this time we enter the infinite world. We must be cautious of those strong in the secret realm. These people are very crazy. They are basically enemies of the 16 nations. They do not have a better training environment, so they have always been the grassy 16 kingdoms are eagerly watching. Elder Mu Chen reminded from the side. Jian Wushuang didn't speak, but just nodded. The other party's cheeks are too thick, and he has nothing to say. Most of the powerhouses in the secret realm were driven out of the 16 kingdoms. That's why it is hostile. As for the counterattack of the 16 nations, that would be somewhat impossible. The background of the 16 kingdoms is too strong. The battle power of the Lord of the Universe may be fairly equal on both sides. However, those who rob the strong must be the more powerful 16 kingdoms. The strong in the secret realm hasn't experienced too many times, and the foundation can't be compared with the 16 kingdoms, such as the 7-star sect. Among the 16 kingdoms, there are dozens of 7-star sections. However, there are no more than 10 7-star sects in the secret realm. This is the bottom line. And there has never been an 8 tribulations realm powerhouse in the secret realm. These are incomparable. Jian Wushuang showed no mercy to these people, but he would not be hostile to them for no reason. This is to cause trouble for myself. But he could see the sense of superiority in the eyes of Elder Mu Chen, and Wu Li is to disdain the strong in the secret territory. 3 days. Several people stood on the deck, and for a long time saw some war boats drifting by. All forces have gathered, about to arrive at Gumu School. Jian Wushuang also felt a long, ancient breath in his heart. That is the breath that never appeared in Shurgua. Wow! The high bow of the warship broke through the chaotic air current. The surrounding area is no longer covered by the yellow atmosphere. Instead, it is full of greenery. What appeared before their eyes was a huge green world. The sky is blue and the ground is green. Very fresh. If you don't know people, you think this place is a paradise. It is not. This place is very close to the Gumu School. It is a buffer zone facing the chaotic air current. On the seemingly plain grass, a huge pink behemoth suddenly sprang up. The body of this giant beast is extremely large, as long as thousands of miles. Countless sharp teeth keep spinning. After looking up at the war boat in the sky, he rushed underneath again. On the grass, only a few deep holes were left, and calm was restored again. Jian Wushuang was not surprised by this. These desolate beasts, with a high probability, ran out of the chaotic airflow they would haunt here at best, and further on were the trump cards of the Ancient Wood School. No matter how powerful, touching the Ancient Wood faction is death. Unknowingly, tens of thousands of warboats gathered in the sky in all directions, covering the sky and the sun. For a time, the black mist rolled. It's not like Wanxian came to the kingdom, but like the devil's army oppressing the realm. If someone said that the Gumu sect was a demon power, Jian Wushuang would believe it. Across countless spaces, Jian Wushuang saw an outline, the outline of a fangs and claws. The eyes of the beast turned, and Jian Wushuang saw a magnificent scene between his eyebrows. It is a huge tree branch spanning several worlds. It is comparable to the size of a country. The Gumu School is located above. Rumor has it that this branch fell off from Wanlu. On this branch, whether it is to cultivate divine power or to disperse and protect one's divine power, it has a great effect. On the war boat, many people came to the Gumu faction for the first time. All were shocked. Just as Jian Wushuang wanted to turn his head to talk to Elder Mu Chen and the others about this matter with the branches, he found that Princess Jin Chen, who was standing next to him, was looking at the opposite position. The brows were still frowning. Following her gaze, Jian Wushuang saw several familiar figures on the bow of the warship with the flag of the Menhir Kingdom. In an inconspicuous position, there are also these emperors, Shurjiao, and beside Shurjiao, there was a young girl wearing a fiery red armor. Look at the clothes and the mark on the eyebrows. It should be a person from the Flame Kingdom. I really don't know this, but he could see that Jin Chen was very concerned about it. Don't look, him still panting. Jian Wushuang Yin and Yang let out a strange cry. Jin Chen blinked and said, "Sometimes I think if you and I are really in one mind, maybe I will really forget him." "Then you should think about him." Jian Wushuang rolled his eyes. Elder Mu Chun and Wu Li were a little embarrassed, but neither of them spoke, yet Wu Li knew Jian Wushuang. This time the two must run away. Elder Mu Chun didn't know. He thought the two were just bickering between husband and wife. "Thanks, Tusk. Don't forget, you still owe me a favor," Jin Chen reminded. Jian Wushuang nodded and replied, "I haven't forgotten. If you want to use that favor, let me kill the descendant of the flame god. You can also discuss it." Back in the daughter country, the Lord Yunji helped him give him a token of the sword Immortal Tongha, which was naturally a great favor. It's just this kind of grace. I want him to return it to Jin Chun. If the other party really has any special needs, he doesn't mind the shot. After all, it will be difficult to see each other again in the future. I owe a lot of favors, and I can pay it back sooner.